Progress.
Welcome to the regular meeting of the Midcoast Community Council for Wednesday, September 24th. And our secretary is going to have to be admitted. So I'm just going to recognize the people that are here, which is
Scott.
Chris.
Thanks.
Me.
I got it. Bye.
Sid, you need to mute.
Hey, bye.
Sid, you need to mute.
Thank you for letting me know. I'll see if I can find the damn mute. Thank you.
Can you mute her, Chris?
I don't.
There.
Okay, the first item that we need to do is to vote to allow Connie to participate as a voting member. Connie, do you want to say anything about your status?
Hi, everyone. I was traveling and was exposed. The family member who was traveling with me got COVID, and therefore I did not. I'm still within the potential period of having COVID myself, so didn't want to expose anybody. So, requesting to attend for health reasons under the provision AB 2449.
Okay, can I get a motion? We allow Connie to participate as a voting member?
Yeah, I move that we allow Connie as a voting member.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Thank you.
moving on, the first item on the agenda is Board of Supervisors report and reports from other government officials. Do we have anybody here in those categories tonight?
I'm here. This is Marisol.
Great. Go ahead, Marisol.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I have two announcements for you today. The first one is we are working on confirming the details for a meeting with Caltrans on the Burnham Strip for October 3rd. We're still trying to figure out the time, so that's in the works, hopefully soon. And we've invited and we've informed and invited Senator Becker's office, and we will let Assemblymember Berman's office know as well. So that just happened today. The second announcement I have is we are working on the federal overlay for the CRISP. Those projects are in the CRISP, and so we're going to be working with Congressman Liccardo's office. So those are developing items now.
Marisol, can I ask for clarification? You're talking about the meeting that he's putting together for the 3rd, potentially?
Yeah.
My understanding is that meeting was supposed to be a public forum on the parking lot per se, not on Burnham Strip per se. Is that correct?
You know what? I'm going to wait for Mike to come back to the office, hopefully tomorrow. So I believe that's probably it, but I just want to confirm with him because he was in the last, I guess he was like the last person who was kind of working on this issue.
That's my understanding. So we'll wait for the confirmation.
Yeah, we'll wait for the confirmation.
Any other questions for Marisol?
I see two hands, Dan and Sid.
Go ahead, Sid.
Marisol, you look nice in that green sweater. I was just wondering if you have any information on the postponed September 17th Seal Cove meeting rescheduling yet?
Thanks, Sid, for the compliment. I don't have any information on that. I'm going to wait until I receive any information from the county. Okay, so.
Okay. Okay, that's my question. Bye.
Okay, thanks, Sid.
Dan?
Oh, one thing in case you haven't been monitoring, I think there was a website, so you may want to check on there. I just haven't seen it today. I've been really busy.
Yeah. Okay. Dan?
Yeah, thank you, Marisol, for your report.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
So just for clarity on this meeting, Supervisor Miller with Caltrans.
Yeah.
Is that's going to be a separate meeting between the meeting that the MCC is calling for? Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So
yeah, but I'll give you information once all the details are confirmed.
And that'll be open. There'll be a public meeting.
It'll
correct?
be an open meeting, correct?
Okay, good. Yeah, I'd be very interested in that, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just to let you know, there's, I think, 930 signatures on the petition now against the Burnham, the Harbor District's plan. And also, it appears we dug up some writings from the Coastal Commission that they are actually recommending on-highway parking with widening the shoulder as needed, which seems to be opposite of what the Harbor District has been reporting to the public. And so it's, it seems pretty clear. The only, some kind of times papers get like stamped one date and then change another date, but I think looks like it's legit. So we'll like to hear Supervisor Mueller opinion on that. And because I know that, pardon?
Sorry, Dan. Is there something that you may have looked at or reviewed online somewhere?
Yes.
Can you send that to me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And then did you ever get a word back from Supervisor Mueller regarding my whether he sent the letter to Caltrans or started working on prioritizing the off-road Class 1 parallel multimodal trail?
You know what? I still have to do a search on that, okay, because one of our staff members is out of the office and I need to make sure that I'm looking in the files that I have access to.
Yeah, it's always been in the planning, and it's in the Plan Princeton, the past Plan Princeton reports. So yeah, it seemed for some reason seemed to be forgotten. And again, I brought it to Supervisor Miller's attention.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, it was something that I campaigned on 13 years ago, more than 13 years ago, when I ran for MCC the first time. And I got the most votes because it was an idea that was resonating with the community. I believe that that's why I got the most votes. Anyway, thank you. So I look forward to getting the answer.
Thanks, Dan. I'll look to see if I can get any update this week on that. Okay.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Janet? You're muted, I think.
Thank you, everyone. Here I go. Thank you, Ms. Escalera, for your report. I was wondering on, and Dan referred to it.
Yeah,
Who's talking?
I have no idea.
That's Janet.
Janet. Hi. So, Ms. Escalera, on the meeting that's coming up with Caltrans,
Yeah.
in the Coastal Commission staff report of November 1, 2024, which Dan was actually referring to.
Yeah.
Within 1 year, Caltrans, which is now going to be November 14th, 2025, they were supposed to submit a plan for the review and approval that'll provide the public access improvements for 75 parking spaces. Do we know where we are with this quote plan? That's right around the corner. If that's going to be part of the meeting with Caltrans, or does anybody know?
I mean, I cannot answer for Caltrans, but I can tell you that I'll draw it to the supervisor's attention in case he has any knowledge that maybe I didn't receive, or if we know anything at all about it. So
Yeah, do you want to go, Claire? I'll just finish up real quick.
Where I think we are, and we're going to go into this in more detail later in the meeting.
Okay.
There are two pending but not yet scheduled meetings on the subject. One is, I believe, the one that Ray Mueller and his staff and the state representatives are putting together, and that is specifically on the advisability of a parking lot on the Burnham Strip. And Caltrans Caltrans will be part of that meeting. The second meeting that the MCC is trying to put together is a planning meeting involving all the agency participants in the whole parking issue. So it's going to involve the state, Caltrans, the county, City of Half Moon Bay, Coastal Commission, Harbor District, and maybe some other people. And it's going to be we're going to assemble all these people and have them talk to each other and try to get to the root of the problem. So there are two separate meetings that are pending. So that helps at all? I don't know.
Well, if I may just reiterate, so the Office of Supervisor Mueller is going to be hosting the meeting with Caltrans. We asked for some support from Senator Becker's office so they could, connect us to the appropriate person from Caltrans. So that's where we are right now, but we're keeping the date for October 3rd, hoping that still works. So that's why I'm saying we still need confirmation from Caltrans participation. And that's a meeting that we're inviting Senator Becker's office and Assemblymember Berman's office because they weren't able to make it, but we're going to extend the invitation to their staff anyway.
I'd like to try and answer Janet's original question, which is that the Caltrans report is expected out in November. That's my understanding from talking with Coastal Commission staff.
Shall I speak? Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it because and Dan will send it to you. The CCNC decision is really clear. We need this plan. And he can send you, if they actually in condition 2 set forth, order of preference as how we should address this problem. And the number 1 was the creation of new parking lot areas in the Caltrans right of way or the extension of pavement and any necessary realignment along Highway 1 to provide on-highway parking. That was the CCC's preference, and it'll be interesting to see, what is Caltrans going to respond now that they're so tight with the harbor, which on this parking lot, even though they're not contributing to any payment of the $500,000 for investigating the idea. So thank you so much for following up on this, and I'll definitely am interested, Ms. Escalera, on the October meeting. And if I could help send any documents or anything, I'd be delighted.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Janet.
Can I ask you another question, Marisol? I believe that the Board of Supervisors met today, and that one of the things that they were considering was a revision of the county budget for the year. Can you give me any kind of update on that?
No, that was on, you mean Tuesday?
Yes, I mean yesterday.
Tuesday. Well, I wasn't prepared to discuss the budget tonight, so I would actually say I encourage everybody to watch the video if you can. So there's a lot of details to that, so I'd rather you just go directly to the video for the budget hearing.
Okay. All right.
Claire, it is on YouTube, and also I did watch that meeting. They still have their deficit because they're suing to get back the VLF funds for $38 million that the state's withholding. So they're cutting back a lot of things, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. I guess we have to update ourselves on that. Okay. Thank you, Marisol. Nobody else
You're
here from
welcome.
any other government agencies? If not,
I
then
think
we will.
it shows that Dan still has his hand up.
That's just, I think, still there, I think.
Yeah. You have to take your hand down, Dan, if you would. Thank you.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is public comment. So anybody is welcome to speak for up to 3 minutes on anything within our purview that's not on tonight's agenda. Is there anybody who would like to speak? Well, I don't see anybody.
My hand is up. I don't know if you can see it, but it's up.
Okay, so go ahead.
All right, 3 things. I attended the fire board meeting today at 4 p.m. and asked about the Ladris software. If you don't know what it is, is the county's AI evacuation planning software. And the Emergency Services Council had a presentation in April from the company that they hired to do the emergency evacuation planning software. And I asked, they said they were going to give it out to all the 20 cities and they could start beta testing it and et cetera. But for the Midcoast, the only guy that has it is Captain Cheechov with the San Mateo County Sheriffs. So I was going to also ask you to ask him to come because of all the explosions that keep continuing since June. I guess you could call them fireworks, but they're not just pretty fireworks. They're really loud explosives. And he went and talked to the city council of Half Moon Bay, but he hasn't talked to us. So I'm wondering if you could possibly bring him in to show us the Ladris software demonstration and see if if he's been working on it for the Midcoast, because I think it's so important. We have, limited evacuation situation here. Also, on number 3, my third, besides the fireworks and the Emergency Services Council evacuation planning, the last thing was wondering if anybody saw, Marisol didn't mention it, but in the Redwood City Pulse today, they had the article about Joaquin Jimenez has, what do you call it, announced he's running for Board of Supervisors. So that was just a passing on the information to you guys. So I'm hoping you can put that on an upcoming agenda because I think evacuation is very important. Thank you.
Yes, good suggestion, Sid. Thank you. Anybody else?
I don't know how to raise my hand.
Who is this?
Oh, that was Jennifer.
Hi.
Jennifer and Janet, if you're done, can you put your hand down? Do you still need another question? You still have another question?
Yes, I have another question, yes. It's public
I'm
comment.
sorry. I know, I was asking Janet, Dan, so sorry.
But that was Jennifer Moore that wanted to know how to raise her hand if you guys want to give out instructions.
Jennifer, why don't you just go ahead?
Hi. Thank you. I appreciate that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm kind of new to all of this. So I'm just trying to gather information on how to learn all of the MCC Harbor District stuff. So excuse me if I don't speak correctly on all this, but first of all, I want to make sure that all public meetings can have people come in person and are available for us to come in person.
Definitely.
Also, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, just said yes.
Okay. Also, I just feel like there's so much misinformation out there, and that, like, for me, like as a regular resident, just trying to find out where all the information is and how to help people understand how to, put their opinions out there. We don't understand all this. You guys make it very complicated. And I know you don't think it is, but it is for us. So I just want you to know there's a lot of people out here that don't want all of this Burnham Strip, all this parking stuff going on. We don't need it. It's ridiculous. And I also want to know, like, I guess, how do we help other people understand how to come to these meetings or get on Zoom? It's like you have to almost want to like dig deep to find this information. Does that make sense?
It does, and it's something we're always trying to improve on.
Okay, well, I would love to sit down with anyone that would help me and help me spread the news to other people, because I am a hairstylist in Half Moon Bay. And I was, I've gotten involved in city council in Half Moon Bay, but I'm actually a resident in El Granada and would like to get more involved. And I just feel like it's very complicated for me to understand all the different logistics of it. And thanks to Dan and Sid Young and a few other people that have helped me along the way, I also would like other help too.
Please feel free to write to us anytime or call us, any of us. We'd be happy to answer any specific questions you have. I would also point you to our website at midcoastcommunitycouncil.org, which has
I
a whole.
just found it
uh,
tonight. I just found it
okay.
tonight.
Okay,
So
and it,
thank you.
to start.
I just want to make sure you guys understand that it's like, it's, you know, everyone says, oh yeah, the information's out there. We come knocking on your door. No, you don't. You don't come knocking on our door. And the only way you get the information is if you really want to know about it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you guys for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I-
And Janet, you had something you wanted to say?
I'm mute again.
I'm off topic for a second. Jennifer, thank you so much for your wanting to get involved, and I highly recommend subscribing to BuzzFeed. They give all the video of the meetings, they tell you what's going on. It's really, really helpful and useful. And I just wanted to express my concerns. We were talking about the budget that I read today in one of the, the Caltrans, they're searching for money because a lot of these grants that have been coming down through the feds to Caltrans via the state, et cetera, are being canceled. And now Caltrans is scrambling as to what to do down in Half Moon Bay. And that flows to us because we're the top end of their little project. And so these grants are, I don't know if the councilmen or what are starting to look at how all this money is going away, along with these excess funds that everybody, counts on from, the school districts. And it's weird funding, it's ERAF, whatever, but a lot of that money is going away, particularly because they don't want to give us back the DMV fees, which is this pile of money. And when I was going to GCSD meetings, everything was ERAF, ERAF. We're going to get all this money from ERAF. I think it's gone. Just like these grants that we have are gone. So it's going to be up to the public community to figure out what we want to do. And the supervisors, et cetera, had better get on board and look at their budgets. And I'd like to, if there's any budgetary meetings, I think that would be an important topic. What we thought we had all this money and it's gone. So that's, I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Can I interject real quick? Jennifer, for your benefit, the platform that Janet was advising you to subscribe to is called Coastal Buzz.
Oh,
That's the one that
Thank you.
provides news and copies or links to public meetings that you can watch and become better educated.
I'm sure Michelle can put the link to that in the chat.
Also, the Chamber of Commerce has all that as well now. All the with a calendar of community meetings and stuff as well. So if you look at the Chamber 360, Coastal 360, that has everything in there too for all the local meetings.
And more or less along that same line, I have announcements of three community-wide meetings that the County Planning Commission is planning to have and is asking people to attend and give their comments and learn about the projects that are being proposed. And just to let you know, the first one is tomorrow. It's at I think 6 p.m. Is that correct?
6 to 8,
6 to 8.
I think.
In Supervisor Mueller's office, which is in the harbor and in the, Ghost Mall. And that will be considering the GCSD park. It'll be a pre-application planning meeting where people are invited to come ask questions and express themselves. The next meeting is on the 30th, which is next week. And in the morning at I think 10, was it 11?
10.
Yeah.
At 10 o'clock, there'll be an update on Plan Princeton, which has been an ongoing planning project involving the Princeton community. This will be focusing on sea level rise, and that's in the same location. And then also on the 30th, which is next week, in the same location at, I believe, 6 o'clock, there will be a pre-application workshop on a proposed resort development, which we're going to be talking about a bit tonight as well. So I think all of those are very important, and it would be very helpful if as many people could attend as possible. We'll move on to the consent agenda. We only
Dan
Two
still
more.
has his hand, and Matthew
Okay.
mentioned to have their hands up.
all right, I thought we had everybody. Okay,
No.
so Matthew, go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to say how nice it is that you guys are available compared to the Harbor District, where it feels like it's just impenetrable and talking to a wall. You guys are great. I wanted to ask if there's been any progress on the Devil's Slide tunnel fiber installation that was approved back by the California Coastal Commission back in July 2023. And it seems like Comcast just had another day outage in El Granada. We, I think, only still have one fiber optic path to the coast side. And that was supposed to be one of the big reasons why they built the tunnel. And I didn't know if, I don't know if Marisol would know anything or even who to ask, but I thought that might be, or Greg maybe has a finger of knowledge.
Or Bonnie.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to let Marisol speak first if she wants to comment on that.
So, what I can tell you is that we're working on the issue of connectivity. Okay, we don't have anything scheduled yet. The plan is for us to maybe schedule something, but I can't confirm anything tonight until I have more information. This is just internal, so more information within our office. So I think I can ask the supervisor to see if we can give any update on that. And if there is, I will send it to Claire and she can share with the rest of the group.
That would be splendid. Thank you very much.
We don't usually comment on public comment, but you guys are asking questions, which I think we could try to answer. And Connie's been working on this a good bit. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that, Connie?
Yeah, I can. Thank you, Claire. I have spoken to both Congressman Becker's office and now to Supervisor Mueller's responded that he's trying to work with the County Department of Emergency Management. He's doing some work with them and is trying to meet with Sam Liccardo's office regarding the federal overlay to the CRIS project. So they are actively following up on the telecommunications. This is part of a group that we are trying to follow up on next steps. So hopefully, as Marisol has confirmed, that we'll hear some information. And we've asked Supervisor Mueller to come back to the MCC meeting with updates to the community on where we stand with some of these projects that that we're hoping to get funding for. So we're trying to stay on top of it, and hopefully we'll have something from Supervisor Mueller's office soon.
Congressman Liccardo also asked if we could put him on our agenda, and he has some ideas on this too. So we'll be looking for that to happen.
Yep. Thanks.
Dan?
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. At the last meeting, Kevin S. said that this meeting, there would be a report on the Moss Beach Corridor project. And so I'm very interested, as you all, I think most of you know, I'm very interested in that. It's not on the agenda, so I'd like to know when it is going to be on the agenda. And, you know, at issue is, you know, the potential dramatic gridlock created from this idea. I know that it's on the table, 2 options, roundabouts versus smart traffic lights that would, in my opinion, would help things flow. And I think that so far they haven't really given the community true consequences of roundabouts. You know, they really are the cousin of a stop sign because they require all traffic to slow down 24/7. at all times down to 15 miles an hour. And if there would be a car inside the roundabout turning, that car on Highway 1 would have to come to a complete stop. And then you'd have ricochet brake lights and backups and stoppages down in the path. So I think more education of the pros and cons. You know, it's true that they are helpful when there's somewhat equal inputs on all four sides, but we don't have that here on the highway. We have it's well documented that we've got an extremely high flow, and at the high speed, we're able to move a lot of cars through there, and at a low speed, you know, just be back up and brake lights. So that I feel, and then also the crossings. More than a decade ago, approximate, I got 1,000 signatures. People wanted a underpass at the Graywell Cove, and I'm happy to show that to the MCC, so that you have, you know, you're aware of it. So the community have been asking for pedestrian underpasses, feasibility studies. Yet the system seems to just be ignoring that and just saying no, pedestrian underpasses are not an option. Period. We're not looking at them. We're not offering them. So having these stoplights would actually, if they have stoplights over roundabouts, yes, people could cross during the stoplight without affecting the flow of traffic, and then. But if there's a separate crossing without a, you know, intersection stoplight, then you're going to have, you know, more and more people just stopping traffic as they're crossing, and that adds up. It all adds up. So anyway, I'm looking to know when that, you know, next update will be from Sean, I believe is the name.
Well, that was actually, if you were told that it was going to be on tonight's agenda, that was not true. And what we voted on last meeting was to have the county get more funding so they could continue planning. And at this point, that's all all pending. So there's nothing immediately scheduled, but as soon as they get started with the planning, we will have them back.
Well, I was told at different meetings, it's going to come up. It's going to come up. She's going to come and give a report.
It is going to come up now.
But
there's nothing going on right now.
Well, no, I was told that it was going to be at this meeting that Shauna was going to come and give an update.
No,
and that's completely separate. It's completely separate from the grant approval.
Well, whatever you heard was not true. I'm sorry.
So are you telling me clearly that nobody is expecting an update soon at the MCC level?
Not in the next month.
Okay. Well, it keeps getting pushed off. I don't know why. I'd like to know why, but all right. Thank you.
We still have Greg too up there.
Greg's got his hand up.
Yeah.
Okay, Greg, go ahead.
I just wanted to fill in some background for Connie and others. You may recall a few years back, we did a telecommunications report. We got involved with Anna Eshu's office in the Middle Mile Broadband Initiative. The fiber cable through the tunnel was approved. We actually suspect it already exists, but is for national security reasons not being disclosed. And then we met with, after I spoke at Anna Eshu's press conference announcing all this Middle Mile stuff, we found from the National Transportation Agency that was funding it, they had canceled our loop. They had moved us to priority 2, which means never. So I got Becker and Berman, and we all wrote to Governor Newsom, and I think Mueller chimed in at the last minute, and we got Newsom to change his mind and put it back on the map. And then Trump happened. And so now I think it's safe to say what I would expect is the funding has been pulled. But I do appreciate your efforts, Connie and whoever. And if you want more data on why we need it and the justification we have, the reason it was pulled was partly because it was more expensive per mile than flat cable in the middle of the prairie. But we have unusual vulnerabilities here, as you've heard: evacuation, tsunami, earthquake, wildfire. So I think we need it more. And I think we can make a justification. I'd be glad to help with whatever is necessary to present a case again.
Okay, thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, we're trying to follow up based on all the great work that you guys did previously, and we're trying to leverage that to continue to push. So thanks. We'll let you know as soon as hopefully we can get some information, more information.
Okay, move on to the consent agenda, I believe. We have two items on there, 2 minutes from the last 2 meetings. I'd like to pull the minutes from, or just the date, get rid of the minutes from the last meeting. We'll consider that next time. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
I move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I second.
Okay. Connie, could you call the roll?
Sure. Kimberly,
Yes.
Claire,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Connie, yes. It's approved unanimous. Gus is not online or there,
Gus-
right?
Gus will be here, but he's gonna be very late.
Okay, thank you. That's it then.
Okay, we can move to the regular agenda. We have some interesting things on here tonight. And the first item,
Sorry, didn't we have both meeting minutes on there?
yes, we took one off.
I know, but are you voting on the other one or not?
Excuse me?
Aren't we voting on the other meeting minutes?
No,
We had
because
two
they don't really exist.
No, that she means, what
No.
I think we just did is Scott moved that we approved the meeting minutes of August 13th and that we drop the September 10th from the agenda.
Okay,
that-
so, yeah, we didn't say approve the August ones yet, so, okay.
Do
That's
we
what
need
we're,
to redo that?
I think it's covered.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay. All right, so we're approving, the vote was to approve the August and remove the September. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, the first item on the agenda, Scott is going to present. He spent a couple of days going through the training that the people are going to be using to inspect for fire safety, residential fire safety, and that might be a place to start.
Okay. So like Claire was saying, I had an opportunity to meet with CAL FIRE and a 2-day seminar and learn a bit about the Defensible Space Initiative. So what I really wanted to focus on is home hardening with respect to embers produced by wildfires. So when you have a wildfire, and it can be many miles away, the embers can show up at your doorstep. And the Defensible Space Initiative is trying to help protect us from fires that are not burning exactly in our neighborhood, but the embers that are produced from wildfires and firestorms. You can go to the next one.
Okay.
Click on that, and there you go. Okay, cool. Okay. As I was just saying, defensible space is the area around your house or structures that you want to protect from embers and direct flames and contact with radiant heat from burning vegetation. So you can go to the next one. This is just a picture of zone 0, and it's from 0 to 5 feet around your house. You can see this house has non-combustible material next to the house. It looks like lava rock. Then they have pavement. The grass is cut. There's no fire. There's no trees or other sorts of vegetation next to the house. You can go to the next one. So there was an executive order from our government saying that they want to establish this new zone 0 regulation, and they want it to be an ember resistant zone. And I just have this up there as just, it came from the state saying we need to do this. We need to harden our homes against fire. And I also wanted to say, I have it in red at the bottom, reducing vegetation in zone 0 nearly doubles the chance of your home surviving wildfire. You can go to the next one. So there's some prohibited landscape materials. And it's mostly about getting fuel away from your house. So they don't want you to have potted plants within 10 feet of your house. No plants beneath windows or doors. And they want, if you have a combustible pot, move it away. And just common sense things like that. And they also, and I'm going to get this farther on, they also wanted to get rid of such things as firewood and synthetic lawn material, window boxes that are flammable underneath windows, because that is against a vulnerable spot in your house. You can go to the next one. There are also some tree restrictions in Zone 0, and I can't really, there's a good picture of before and after on the right-hand side, and what I really just want to say is that you got to keep the trees 10 feet away from your house or chimneys, and limb them up so they're more than 6 feet off the ground. Go ahead, next one. So they talked a lot about gates and fences. So embers can catch a fence on fire, and that fire just runs along the fence until that fence meets a wooden gate. The gate catches on fire, and then now you have a fire underneath your eave, and that will start the eave on fire, and your house will catch on fire through the roof or any flammable material on the sides. So what they want is, as you see on the top right picture, they want metal gates between a wooden fence and your house. And that's just what that slide's talking about. You can go to the next one. No structures or buildings in Zone 0. You can go to the next one. So when do they want this Zone 0 to be finished? And I've highlighted in red the most important part of this slide. And it just says, I'm going to read it. It says, homeowners and businesses have 3 years to clear vegetation and consumables within 5 feet of your house. And so that's for existing. If you have a new construction, you're going to abide by the new regulations. But if you already have a home that's been there for 20 or 30 years and you have a lot of stuff growing up on it, or you have a wood pile or something like that, we have 3 years to get that fixed. Now, that's the state of California wants that to be finished in 3 years. But again, if you have a fire tomorrow, these things need to be acted on immediately. You can go to the next one. And those are just examples of fires that started with adjacent structures next to a house. So a lot of times, like wood decks will catch on fire. Now, I'm gonna say that when CAL FIRE assesses your house and your deck has nothing flammable underneath it, and it's on, say for instance, it's on gravel or a cement pad, you're okay. That's an acceptable way to have a wood deck. You can go to that. So that's basically Zone 1. I mean, Zone 0, we've talked a lot about that. If you have any questions about that, you can let me know at the end. But since we live, especially El Granada and Montera, have very steep slopes, I want to talk about Zone 1 a little bit. You got that one. So when they talk about Zone 1, they're talking about one of the items is your roof. If there's a wildfire and embers are flying all over the place, the fire could be miles away. If it lands in a gutter or a roof line that's full of fuel, which like leaves or sticks, your roof will catch on fire. So they really want you to make sure that you keep combustible materials off your roof and your gutters. You go to the next one. So it's not up there yet, but there's a picture there of there you go, of a before and after, of a good and a bad representation. I mean, two bad pictures of flammable material next to a house. You got to keep the grass cut to 4 inches, And you gotta keep on the picture on the right, that's flammable material right underneath the windows and eaves. So you can go to the next one. So as I mentioned earlier, if your house, if your deck is got nothing underneath it and it's on dry dirt, that's good. The deck on the right has fuel underneath it, which is going to catch on fire and catch the deck on fire. Next one. So if you really want to have a wood pile, there's one more picture in the middle that should come up. There it is. So if you really want to have a wood pile next to your house, there are fire-approved blankets, fire-retardant blankets or tarps you can put on top of it. And that little picture is what's going to be on a fire-resistant tarp or blanket. You go to the next one. So again, I want to talk about zone 2 a little bit too, about fuel reduction. And I have some specific slides coming, but the top is the before and after of removing fuel load in zone 2. You can see how they cleared all the trees around that area. You can go to the next one. So they want the grass cut. We know we need to keep the grass cut in the uninhabited patches of land, vacant lots. If you have a lot of property, it's good to keep the grass cut down to 4 inches. You can go to the next one. So especially in El Granada, and this is another one of the slides I wanted to talk about for zone 2. So this fire really likes fuel, like grasses and logs and things like that. It likes wind and it likes slopes. And so if you have a steep property like in El Granada and you're thinking about thinning out the trees, this is kind of what they want. And they give some slope angles and distance between the trees that is recommended on various slope angles. And that's the slope angles are on the right. So you can go to the next one. A lot of people have trees in their backyard that are in zone 1 or 2, and they don't want you to cut those trees down. They just want to make sure that they're limbed up high enough off the ground so that the tree doesn't catch on fire if embers have started a fire on the ground. So to keep the trees safe. You can go to the next one. And also in zone 2, they recommend that you don't have organic material more than 3 inches deep. So I have some redwood trees in my backyard, and I had a look the other day, and just the deadfall and the dead branch and little leaves and stuff that fall down can produce 3 inches of loose litter in a couple of years. So be mindful of that. Go to the next one. I want to talk about this. Oh, you can go back one? That's okay. I can talk about that.
No, I'm gonna go back.
The previous one is a picture of things you just don't want around your house. I think there's a picture of there you go. Propane tank. I want to talk about, well, obviously you don't want to have a propane tank. Structures. On the right-hand side, you have to have your address visible. CAL FIRE really likes that. And I'll talk about stumps on the next slide. So rotten stumps should be removed because they are a fire risk. But newer stumps that are not rotted, as long as you move the leaves and stuff away from them, you'll be okay. You can go to the next one. And that's an example of just street signs. They need to be legible. And you can go to the next one. The chimneys have to have openings of the mesh between 3/8 and a half inch. Now we're not talking about embers flying into a chimney. That's a chimney producing embers. And I left this slide in there because it had a spec on it. You can go to the next one. So when you're removing vegetation and fuel load, it's recommended you do it in such a way that it's not going to cause erosion. So if you went and tore up all the vegetation around a stream and trees, you might have more erosion from that stream, and we don't want to make that worse in the future. You can go to the next one. So there are types of vegetation that's fire resistant, and it's all described up there. they have little wax or resin or oil. The leaves are moist. They're deciduous. They're like the agave in the back, and they're low growing shrubs. So you can go to the next one. So fire really likes junipers. It really likes cypress trees, and it really likes bamboo. So those are the three things that are probably the worst, probably some of the worst to have around your house. And I know we have them around here. You can go to the next one. Again, this is a before and after of removing the fuel load from some area around the property. You can go to the next one. And that's just another before and after. You can go to the next one. And you can see, like, this is another before and after. They removed a lot of the trees, and separate the trees are separated with regard to the spec, and they're all limbed up very high. You can go to the next one. I talked about this defensible space, but I also wanted to talk a little bit about home hardening. Now, there's something very easy we can do to prevent your house from having embers enter the house. When you think about the construction of a roof or a crawl space in a house, the roof is designed to be a chimney. So the air flows in through the vents underneath your eaves and then flows out the vents in the top of the roof, just like a chimney. Now, if there is a wildfire in your neighborhood, the embers are flying all over the place, they're going to get sucked right into your roof and burn your house down. The same thing goes for crawl space vents. So what they want, one CAL FIRE recommends is, and I have that in red at the bottom, it says you need to get fireproof mesh between 1/16 and the holes need to be between 1/16 and 1/8 inch in diameter. So I measured mine and it was around 1/8. So, and I know I need to get fireproof vents in my roof. So those are two things I'm going to act upon. And like I said, in the other red thing up there, attics and underfloor vents with openings larger than 1/8 are susceptible to embers. So again, there will be wildfires. Embers go a long way. There's a lot of easy things we can do to protect our houses from embers produced by wildfires. And if you have any questions, let me know. If there's any questions out there. So I see one from Greg. Go ahead, Greg.
Well, I have a test case for a lot of the things that you're showing there. And I'm in the process of rebuilding my front steps, getting a metal gate, and replacing a section of fence that touches my house. My house is hardy board, which is the second best siding you can have, but still, stucco, by the way, is the best.
Can I bark out type A also? Type A roof, like fireproof roof.
I got that. I got that. But the thing I wanted to bring up is that this is getting to be expensive, and I'm not getting the guidance I was hoping for on what vendors selling what stuff. For instance, there are people using their, what is it called, Trex synthetic materials for their decks, and that stuff is apparently really flammable, but the manufacturer won't tell you that. You had a slide there with a WUI products handbook listed. I really would like to know where that is, because I can't find. It's understandable. CAL FIRE doesn't want to sponsor particular vendors, but I really want to know what products I can use. For instance, on my front steps, I probably want to get metal stringers to support the steps rather than using wood, etc. And I wanted to also mention there was a group called Manzanita Works, which held an online forum that Kevin attended, and they're hoping to create some kind of community pooled purchase deal where we could save a lot of money by buying as a group in bulk. So I think that's worth looking into. Kevin's not there tonight, but I think that's a useful thing for all of us, because as I said, this stuff is starting to look expensive, the upgrades required. Thanks.
So let me respond to Greg real quick. So he mentioned WUI, that's the Wilderness Urban Interface, and that's what we're talking about with wildfires are being produced. I think CAL FIRE, this question has been brought to CAL FIRE a number of times, but they don't have a specific answer for us in regards to manufacturers of building materials, except for the roof. And you have to have a Class A roof. But I'll look into it, Greg. I'll look for that Wilderness Urban Interface Handbook. Okay, Janet.
Oh, okay, I have audio, great. I was wondering if they said, when you met with CAL FIRE, if they said
Yes.
anything about enforcement. For example, there's a lot by me where there's a very, very dead pine tree and tons of grass feet long, pampas, etc. And when I call them, they're like, we don't take any complaints from anybody because it's gonna, it'll snowball. So, and right now we don't have these rules in effect, and yet we can all see that there's, things to be done. And how do you get anybody to do anything?
They're gonna love you. You're getting them a branch now.
Are you asking for that lot to be assessed that you're describing?
I would love for it to be, but when I talk to CAL FIRE, they tell me they don't want to hear from me. They don't want to hear from anybody because, they don't take assessments or complaints from neighbors.
So, if you send me an email with that property, I could probably get someone to look at. I could get CAL FIRE to assess that.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm happy I'm getting to know you folks better. Thank you.
Okay, so CAL FIRE, part of the course that I took is training people how to do assessments on yards and properties. And their time zero started last January for the 3 years. And CAL FIRE will look at all the properties in very high fire danger. It will happen. So send me information. Maybe I can push it down a little bit to CAL
Thank you.
FIRE. Okay.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, go ahead, Burnett.
Yeah, just a quick question. You were talking about the inspections they're going to be done to help us determine what needs to be done. Do you know when those will be beginning?
They've already started.
They have already started. Okay.
Yeah, they've already started. So the reason I know about this is because they came to my house and I asked them, I invited them in and said, please help me. And they did their assessment of my yard and let me know what I could do in the future. So they are happening now. Does that answer your question?
Yes. So you requested, so it's possible to make a request for them to come and take a look?
Yes, they were in my neighborhood. I saw them and I said, hey, you CAL FIRE? Can you come over and look at my house? And they said, yes. And that's how I found out about the assessments, the time frame in class. So it is happening.
Thank you.
And also so if, say for instance, you needed someone to help you prepare for that, I'd ride my bike over to your house and help you and look at your house. And I would give you the knowledge that they gave me to help you prevent, to help you harden and give you more defensible space around your house. So you'd have to call me up. You have to find my phone number and call me and say, can you come over? And I'll do that for you if you want.
Thank you, Scott.
You got it. All right, Dan.
Yeah, I can hear me.
Yep.
Okay. First, I want to say that, I grew up in San Francisco around near some of the most beautiful neighborhoods. And these neighborhoods were beautiful because they were just just phenomenally landscaped. So I just want to hand out that, landscape adds beauty to the community. And that's very important. I certainly agree. You know, hey, nobody should ever have dry material next to the house, and you know, needs to be careful with all that in context. I just want to say, you know, most of the time, this in our community, most of the time of the year, it's extremely humid here. Um, Fires typically don't like humidity. When you're talking about embers coming from far away, of course, you get a hot enough fire, anything can happen. Water would probably burn. Um, but and also, you know, there's a lot of microclimates. Um, you know, there's like you suggested, you know, certain areas where there's a hill and there's a bunch of stuff. That's something to look at. If bunch of dry material down on the bottom, and it's all, you know, you know, dealt with. Um, and I want to say, you know, mulch is very healthy for the planet. It's good for the soil. Um, it's good for um, like combating CO2. It's mulch is a very healthy concept. Mulch is also or removing. Well, mulch is bad for weeds. Having mulch down prevents weeds, uh, and weeds left alone are probably the worst thing. Uh, Typically, you take an area in our environment, you see some mulch. For the most part, you scratch down an inch, and you got a lot of moisture. Everything under there is moist because it's kind of like a blanket over the top. I know this has been discussed. There's certainly, if it's in an area where it's really high, low humidity, excuse me, it's a different scenario. Here we have high humidity, and you know, some of these low, you know, flood zones, so the water level is just underneath, you know, our steps through our yard. Yeah, so I got a feeling this whole thing's gonna get some pushback from the community overall. It's, you know, just in the early stages here. Um, you know, my first thought is it seems to be like far overreaching. Of course, we need to be responsible. One thing you did not mention is the vents in the roof. You know, you did not mention anything about I know that technology, different um, um, like a steel wall blankets where the air can move through, but an ember will get stopped. There's different devices to put on your roof vents.
Dan, I had a slide on that. I had a slide on.
Okay, and you didn't mention eucalyptus trees. You're attacking cypress and junipers, and
I'm sure there's
I
a
know
lot
that
of very
sometimes.
flammable trees. I'm
Pardon?
probably going to list all of them, but I'm sure there are a lot of flammable trees out there like eucalyptus.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
So let me just respond to you and from this is my opinion now with my interaction from CAL FIRE.
Can I finish? I just
Go ahead.
I'm almost finished. Just so you know, yes, there's certain times of the year, and everybody can really feel it in the air when there's a dry wind, you know, and historically at those times, I've even suggested on Nextdoor, and got a lot of positive response from it. In fact, extremely high views. Um, you know, when it's dry, we have to take a little extra effort to irrigate. You know, and not everybody has to irrigate, right? But if you have, you know, you have beautiful landscaping that you want, you know, you want to care for. It's good to keep it moist a little extra. So that's something that wasn't mentioned, but you know, important to do. And frankly, you know, you start to strip all landscape around a house, it's starting to look like a mobile home park, you know, with nothing, you know. And so I imagine that there's going to be a lot of talk about this over the months, years. Certainly, it's important to bring up, do whatever is reasonable to, make your house fire safe, your neighborhood fire safe. Absolutely, 100% behind that. But some of these things seem to be going a little far, and that's I could go on a little bit more, but I probably shouldn't. So go ahead. You were going to say something.
Okay, so first off, I want to say two things. The first one is CAL FIRE will work with you. They're not here to sterilize the outside of your house. And I didn't want to get into every single thing that was mentioned in the class because it would have been just not appropriate for the amount of time allotted to me. But at one point you are correct. They do like you to keep your plants watered. They don't want dry plants. If you have bushes underneath your trees, as long as they're below, bushes on the side of your house, as long as they're below the windows, they're okay. So they're here to help us and to work with us to just make us a little bit better at hardening for fire around the house. So they're here to help us. The second thing I want to say is home insurance. That has nothing to do with CAL FIRE, but they're also involved in this and they want to protect their asset. So I just want to mention that too. It's not always just CAL FIRE. It's the insurance companies are also involved. Okay, go ahead, Connie.
Thanks, Scott, for following up on this. It's really great information. I just wanted to ask if you could then, along with what you were just suggesting with the insurance, follow up with within the fire department, the people who are working with the fire safe community ratings that we could maybe start to get people aligned to doing so that it may help with insurance. Did they talk at all about that, or could you possibly follow up on that?
I did a little research on that, and there was a grant from the RDC to start the process for someplace in El Granada. So it's not, it requires a lot of community involvement and money. So I'll follow up with that.
Thank you, Scott, and thanks for. Go ahead.
No, you're welcome.
Okay, that was it. Thanks for spearheading us.
You got it. Go ahead, Greg. I think you still got your hand up.
I just wanted to mention I found that manual and I put it in the chat. It just came out September 2nd of this year, and that's going to come in real handy. And I'll let you know what I buy, Scott.
And that's for the materials, Greg? Is that what?
Yeah, it's great. It has actual products by vendor, contact information. It's 82 pages long. It's great.
Perfect. Thank you.
I think, I don't know how long you want to go, but you have two other people with their hands up.
Oh, there are?
Yeah.
I don't see them.
Just Sid.
Oh, Sid, go ahead.
The other person is Connie, and you already called on her. She still has her hand up.
Okay.
I just want to piggyback a little bit on what Dan says, and no offense, Dan, but I'll refute a little bit of it. I know you're pro mulch, but really close to the house, I'm not. I think you should use like lava rock or something else that's not flammable, because mulch is flammable. And every time I've gone on any CAL FIRE website, that's what they say, is they don't prefer you to use wood chips for mulch. If you can, maybe off in the far part of your yard, but not right close to the house. And I'm in favor of the zone 0. It doesn't make it look like a mobile home or a hotel or anything. It's really not a good idea to have vegetation that close to your house in the first place, because it acts as a ladder fuel to get your house to start burning. So that's my opinion, but I've been following up on fire for many, many years, and I'm hopefully, I live out in the grassland area of Moss Beach and Seal Cove, where a lot of vacant lots can catch on fire and create a grass fire that comes your way. But what I wanted to say, and this is like a public service announcement, you did point out, Scott, a really good thing about having your house number prominently displayed on your fence or some exterior part of your house that can be easily seen by first responders. Because one night, I don't know why, but I woke up and I could hear there was a spotlight on the front of my house, and I heard a big diesel engine going back and forth, and I was half asleep. I thought, oh, it's too early for a garbage truck. What's going on? And they kept going up and down my street. And every time they had the spotlight on my house, I'm thinking, what the hell? So I finally went out in my nightgown and stood on the edge of the driveway. I saw them go down the block one more time. It was the fire truck. And they turned around again. And what had happened was my neighbor lived at 140 San Lucas had called emergency because he woke up having some kind of diabetic issue. And he told them to come. And by the time they got there, they couldn't see any house number on his house. And his house had just been painted white by the painters, and they painted over the numbers and didn't put them on a contrasting number. I mean, they didn't paint them back with a contrasting color. So, same with my neighbor's house across the street, and all of us are kind of elderly. We've lived in the neighborhood a long time, so I've told him where the house was and that I knew he was a diabetic, and he always told us if we didn't see him for a few days to call because he lived alone, just like several of us do. And so I went down to Soil Farm and I bought a great big boulder and put it out in front of my house and had some kid stencil my street number on it so you can see it very easily. Because even on my own house, I noticed that I had some big numbers, but somebody had planted a rose bush right in front of it and had gotten bigger. You couldn't see it anymore. So you got to help these firefighters out. You never know when they're going to be calling you. I mean, when you're going to be calling them at 4 in the morning and it's dark out and they can't see your house. So everybody that doesn't have their numbers on their fence or their driveway or this entrance to their house, please put one on. Thank you.
Scott, are you ready to move on?
I am ready.
Okay.
And look, I mean, do you want?
I think we could probably wrap it up.
Can I just say that many of our esteemed community members live in mobile home parks, and we're not in any way criticizing the appearance or the landscaping around their homes.
That's a good point.
Yes, and so all the things that I've talked about in this tiny little part of the presentation that was delivered to me is all backed up by testing. So they have machines that can blow embers onto houses with different kinds of construction and mulch or no mulch, and they will look to see how fast the structures catch on fire. So there's a lot of science behind the Defensible Space Initiative, and that's it.
I really appreciate the generosity and detail and look forward to more.
You got it.
Thank you.
Next time will be home hardening.
Okay. And a big plug for fire safe communities. Any chance you get a chance, anytime you get a chance to look into that, it's worth looking into.
Okay.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is going to be a presentation from Chris Rogers. The MCC normally gets referrals of planning projects in the county that we are supposed to comment on. We got this one, and it's a very big project, and we had no advance information on it. And it is going to have a public hearing next week. So we thought at least we'll get the community some information on it. And we're lucky enough to have the applicant for the project here to answer questions. And Chris Rogers has looked into it, is going to present the project to us.
Yeah, thanks. Just to clarify, the meeting coming up is not a public hearing, so there'll be no recommendations or decisions or anything coming out of that. It's a workshop.
But people can say things,
to
right?
receive input.
Yeah.
So just, I want to clarify that. So as Claire said, we got this planning referral from the county planner with an announcement of the pre-application workshop that's going to be on September 30th at 6 o'clock over at Ray Mueller's office in the Harbor District. The project, which I've put up on the screen here, the location of it, so you can see here's Frenchman's Creek Road entering into the off of Highway 1, the Rousseau Francais Avenue community just off of Frenchman's Creek itself there, and the existing agricultural operations which are in this sort of small valley here. And the project is proposed, ultimately would include a clubhouse, a restaurant, a wellness center, 12 villas, 6 cabanas, 3 sport courts, owner-operated residence, additional site parking, expansion of the reservoir, and would also include 6 farm labor housing units, reconfiguration of existing on-site agriculture in the east valley of the property. It'll be over
all the way over that side.
All the way over here?
Yeah, by no, other side, by Franklin Street. Yeah.
This side?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought. It's those fields that are right down off of the creek, right? And would also include a new campground with 12 campsites in that area over on that side as well. The applicant has submitted a master plan document that includes a robust consideration of the project and the elements of the project and the features of the landscape as it is, the environmental setting, geotechnical setting, but also the different proposed actions that would include some zoning and land use actions, retirement of a Williamson Act contract, road improvements, water storage, including for irrigation, domestic supply, and let's see, and also includes a lot of technical appendices that look at the architectural concept, the road intersection, a traffic analysis, exhibits having to do with reservoir expansion, percolation tests for water resource development, with the Williamson Act that I mentioned, geotechnical and biological studies. So a lot of upfront information has been attached to the master plan document that has been made available to us, and presumably then is available through the planning department. And so again, similar to the pre-application workshop coming up, we're not here to debate the merits of the project, but just to present it to the community, make the community aware that this is a proposal that's on the horizon, and to the extent that you feel is appropriate, we can ask the applicant to speak as well if you think that's okay.
It's up to you.
Yeah, I think I've covered everything that I want to present here.
Would you like to?
Is it right here? I'll just say a couple words. Sure. Is it right there or? Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Edward Wilkinson. I've been in the community now since 2017. I started the cannabis farm that's on the same property. We have about 25 employees that we take good care of. And when we purchased the property, always had the vision to do this project. And so we've been working with the county now for over 2 years, and with all the different consultants. So there's been, 70-page environmental review. There's a 20-30-page traffic study that was done. The geotech study within the application that we've submitted so far was very basic. We've let the county come back with comments on that. So we've hired Geotech Romeg, and they're about to be done with their application, which actually I'll have when we resubmit the application after the workshop hearing. That will be, they dug 30 different holes to make sure everything where we're proposing it will be stable. We did an archaeological test at the county study that the county's requested from us, so that's going to be submitted as well through when we resubmit the application after the workshop. But yeah, a lot of work, time, resources have all gone into this project, and we've made sure that we conform with the PAD zoning. So the zoning of the property is PAD, Planned Agricultural Development. And developments based on density credits. Property comes with certain density credits. These also can acquire more density credits through, say, increasing water supply, transferring the density credits, and consolidating them onto one property, which I also own the property next door to that property that I currently live on. So we conform with pretty much everything that we've looked over outside the scenic corridor. We're outside the Granada Community Service District, actually outside the Midcoast Council district as well, and outside Half Moon Bay City. So, but I'm here because we want to talk to everybody, hear everybody out, make sure that if there are any concerns, if we can mitigate them, we can help the community gain support for the project. I know there's quite a lot of people in the community that I know that know about the project, but now, you know, it's full-blown public. The county has a website about it, XYZ. So we're here to help answer questions and whatnot. So
I understand from Angela Chavez, the planner, that there was noticing of property owners within 1,000 feet of the project property boundaries, presumably, which because of your remote position, it actually doesn't reach that far into the communities that are right near there. The residential communities. So wondering, do you have a feel yet for whether this pre-application workshop is expected to have much turnout? And
I mean, there was 180 comments on Nextdoor that I responded to. So I think Nextdoor is a big part of this community, and there's 5,000 members in Half Moon Bay, which is almost 50% of the population. So I think, you know, there's plenty, everybody knows about it, or there's enough people that know about it. But again, it is on a private road that, you know, we have the easement through all the way to our property. That was done in 1887, 1879 when the subdivision was done. And then also we're out of sight, out of mind. So the project actually can't be seen from anywhere. So whatever development does happen up there, you can't see it.
Will that be true? With the restaurant and the villas will be on this ridge top, right?
Well, you can't see it. You know, you could see out to like Mavericks and stuff like that, but you can't see any houses or anything. There's like probably, if you're looking at it and you put your finger out, there's probably the highway you can see that much of, but other than that, nobody can see it.
It's going to be unusual in that it's one of the only developments in the coast side right here that's up off the immediate sort of plain, coastside plain. So I think you probably expect people are going to want to see some visual simulation of that.
We're planning to show some stuff on the 30th in regards to that. But yeah, you can't see that property from anywhere other than, you know, like I said, that little sliver. And yeah, we're the first property outside the scenic corridor as well. So we don't have any, if you're within the scenic corridor, you're prohibited to build on a hilltop or ridge top, but we're outside that zone as well. So yeah, if there's any more questions.
Can you just spell your name for me? Can I understand, just for the record?
Edward Wilkinson, EDWARD, Wilkinson, WILKINSON.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We were looking at the plans the other day and we're wondering what you're going to do for sewer service.
Sewer service. So within the application, as you mentioned, we did 2 perk tests on the hill. We got A results, which is the best results you can get within the county. There's actually septic designs for both those. That's for the owner operator residents as well as I don't like calling it a resort because it sounds very big, but this is kind of a boutique kind of post Ranch Inn vibe type of thing that we're trying to do with a clubhouse membership that's kind of marketed to the co-siders. But there is septic perk tests that have already been done for the main part of the project, and we're currently we've done some perk tests for the farm labor housing, and we're in the process right now of doing perk tests for the campsite.
And there
So-
would be
There's
septic
no tie-in.
on the site.
Yeah,
right?
it'd all be consolidated on the site without tying into any septic system. So there would be no pressure on, I know there's already a lot of pressure on existing systems on the coast. And so there wouldn't be any additional pressure being put onto any of these systems. It's all on the site and that's it. My property, the whole property doesn't have any tie-in for septic. We don't have water either tie-in.
So you're getting your water from the reservoir?
So within our application, we're actually applying to be our own water district. So we have our own well, domestic well, and we're proposing within the application, and we're already submitted to the DDW, Department of Drinking Water of California, to become our own water municipality. So that's going to include 250,000 gallon tanks, one for fire, one for usage, and then a water filtration system to make sure Title 22 is met.
You have an adjudicated water right from Frenchman's Creek also?
Yes, we do. We have two rights that are grandfathered in. So, there's a 5 million gallon a year that we can pull during certain times of the year that then fill our current reservoir. The reservoir that's in use sits at about 2.5 million gallons because the clay liner doesn't take more than that. But in our application, we're actually proposing to line the pond and expand the capacity to about 12 million gallons. And so that can get filled up over the years or by rainfall. And then that would also be accessible for any, fire department. If they came in with, air support or whatever, they could come in and swoop out of that too.
Okay.
How does this compare, just for context of what we're talking about, to Costa Noa?
So I would say Costa Noa, there's two components, there's three components to the project. There's the campsite, which will be low cost, and we want to make that actually low cost. Look at Costa Noa, still a couple $100 a night to stay there. So this is going to be kind of low cost, drive in, you can pitch a tent, no RVs, no big campers or anything like that. And there'll be 88 bathrooms and showers there, kind of just like a park campsite that you can go to. And then the villas and stuff like that, and clubhouse, I would say it's, if you look up Post Ranch Inn in Big Sur, they have 24 rooms and they've got a restaurant and everything with ocean views, sunset views. That's the kind of vibe that we're going for on that. So it's kind of high end boutique. And then the clubhouse, will also going to be on, I would say, mid to higher end as well. And then this, sports center and spa will be inclusive of all of it.
One more quick question from me and then everybody else can have at it. What are your plans for the existing cannabis operation?
To continue operations.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So the Williamson Act changes will be just for a small portion of it?
Yeah, so the Williamson Act, we've already canceled. So how the Williamson Act works is there's a 10-year contract that renews every single year. We've already canceled it. So now we're on a 10-year timeline of being able to cancel it. So I think the county quoted us about $650,000 if we wanted to cancel it that day and then go to the board of supervisor meeting and cancel it completely that day. But every year that we wait since canceling it, we pay 10% less, 10% less, 10% less, 10% less. So, where I think we're probably a year and a half, 2 years into canceling it. So, but the plan is to get the project approved way before the Williams Act's finished. So we will have to pay the county, probably $300,000-$400,000 to cancel that application, cancel the Williamson Act and actually be out of it.
What is the benefit of the cancellation if you're still doing agriculture on them?
So cannabis is not considered agricultural within the Williamson Act. And then also when you have the PAD rules within, don't quote me on this because this is something that's more complicated, but within the PAD rules, what I believe the reason why it's canceled is because if you're doing development within it, you have to have X amount of agriculture. And because we have cannabis and not other agriculture, the ratio didn't work out. So we had to cancel out of the Williamson Act.
And that Western Valley land doesn't make up the difference.
No, because it's not enough.
And you don't get any credit for like
No, I mean,
equivalent of forest reserve for the land that you're not developing.
no, I mean, the property tax went, to double when we quit and when we got out of the Williamson Act. So the last 2 years we've been paying double what we were paying when we first moved in.
Chris, do you want to entertain any public comments?
Can I ask a question real quick? So I'm familiar with the post ranch.
Yeah.
Is your pricing gonna be the same as the post ranch?
I mean, we're not gonna have that scale of what they have,
Okay.
I would say, because all of our villas are the same size.
Okay.
Post ranch and have a small villa and then they've got, a $20,000 villa and
I think you can,
yeah, so we're not having that spectrum of, it's all gonna be, the villa's gonna, the plan is to have them all the same size.
Okay, what do you plan on? What's the rate per night that you are gonna have for that?
I mean, that's TBD.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you.
because it's just like post ranch and I might come over.
Yeah, I mean, that's the plan. I mean, the plan is to make something super nice,
Okay.
close by, if you look at the coastside here, the accessibility to 7.5 million people is, 2 hours away. Everyone else is gonna go to do something. I mean, the only thing you can do nice is the Ritz, right? Well, not nice, but the Ritz is the nicest, top level place you can stay here. There's not really anything, I would say, super boutique like Post Ranch in Half Moon Bay or around Half Moon Bay. You'd have to go to Big Sur or past Santa Cruz to go to that. So I think, having something here would work quite well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ed, we have a couple of comments from our.
Kimberly better.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, sorry, you threw me off there. I think there are several things I'd like to know, but I'm hesitant because I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but, there's a creek with documented steelhead in that vicinity. I know you mentioned the perk test and all this, but my concerns are very much about water contamination. And I'm curious, especially with the cannabis facility and the chemicals that you use on the plants. I mean, how is that? I'm assuming that's monitored
Yes.
often
Yes.
and
So just to talk about the farming operation. First of all, the California cannabis has one of the highest levels of scrutiny when it comes to testing product. So the products that you can use are, not harmful. They're all, oils or non-invasive chemicals, but the chemicals are, the very lenient chemicals, and we don't use very many of them. We use mainly oils, essential oils, and then bioinsecticides and fungicides. So bioinsecticides and fungicides are basically like using a natural bacteria or a natural mold or a natural parasite, and then you spray it on the plants, and that mold then competes with the bad mold, or there's a bacteria that then goes on the bug and eats the bug from the inside out. And that type of sprays, or whatever you want to call them, don't have any negative effects, but we are monitored. The ag department also comes out and checks on us every year. We have to have a pesticide application license, and we have to record everything that we spray. So there's a big booklet at the end of the year. All the rooms have exactly what's sprayed on it per month, so everybody knows what's in there. So as far as that goes, the chemicals that we use to spray the plants with are all very, very safe. Second of all, the nutrients that I use are all mainly just salt-based nutrients. So again, they're also very safe, but there is no letting it into the ground. So they're all concrete floors. We have a catchment system, so all the runoff from the plant goes into a catchment system that then goes into a holding tank and then goes back through our filtration system. So there is no runoff essentially.
so you're saying it's all indoors?
It's contained, yeah, it's all indoors. Like it's all it's all indoors, all concrete floors and greenhouses. There's nothing grown outside. And then going back to your, the creek, we're miles away from the creek and then also within the testing for, if you put in a leach field, which is a septic system, there are buffers from the creek. So you have to be I think it's 150 feet away from a creek if you want to put in a septic system. So there is no possible contamination.
I think that's what I'm also very concerned about is this the scale of this in terms of, sewage waste is pretty substantial, and I'm not, at least from what I've read so far, not convinced that that's been.
Well, there's been a very comprehensive septic system that's been designed, 2 of them, just for the top part of the project. That's not part of the campsite or the farm labor housing. And the perk test, again, are A results. So it's the best type of percolation that you could get in the, as far as the soil goes. So, that's all science-based. And the calculations are done by, some of the top engineers in the county as far as the septic systems goes. And will be probably installed by, some of the best people in the county as well. So, this is a very normal system for people rural to put in. So I don't see there being any issue, and all the systems are designed for, much more people than are going to be there. So they're always over designed because the code requires X amount of, X amount of size for this much usage, and it's always overbuilt.
Okay, and then I recall seeing something in the plans about some affordable housing units.
Yeah, so
Can
we're
you
planning.
talk a little bit about that and what the range would be?
So we're planning them away for free. So I currently have farm laborers living on the property. The county knows about these laborers that live on the property. They're in a structure that was built a long time ago. There's no official record of the structure, so part of our but everything's up to code because they had the farm labor task force come out, checked on everything. They gave us a list of 20 things to fix that were electrical. They had to put in a new water filtration system for them. There's a couple of the 20 list of say 20 things that they asked us to do, so that we did all 20 things. And then the county came back out again, checked it all off and signed off and said, look, you guys are safe. And then they know about our project already, that this house is going to get demolished. So there's going to be a demo permit that goes in. And then these 6 farm labor housing units are going to go there, and we're not going to charge them anything.
So I'm not sure. So then all of the affordable housing things mentioned in this plan are pre-existing buildings? No,
They're not pre-existing. There is a pre-existing building that was built a long time ago that I would say is, not, it could be improved. And so we want to build 6 farm labor housing units that are going to be really nice for the employees on the farm.
Okay.
And so that's the plan. And we don't have 6 people. We don't have 6 people living there now. So, but we want to add some additional units than what's currently existing. But what currently existing needs to be demolished.
And so that it would then be restricted to people who work on the property.
Technically, farm labor housing, as long as the income is coming from someone who works on a farm, they can live there. So they don't have to work for me, but the intention is that the laborers on the farm get a place to live for free.
Okay, it was very interesting. Thank you. One other question, just for informational. Depending on how this process unfolds, are you open to scaling back the plan at all in some ways?
I mean, I would say probably not. I feel like the plant isn't that big. I mean, if you look at the Dunes project or whatever it was 200 rooms. And the fact that we're out of sight, out of mind, we're not bothering anybody, nobody's even going to know it's there. I don't think that, I think what we've proposed is, pretty reasonable.
Okay.
It's 12 units and 12 campsites.
Traffic impacts haven't been looked at yet?
Yes, they have. There's a whole traffic study done by an independent company called Hexagon, that
Okay.
cost $30,000 to do that study. And a very comprehensive study to make sure the road was clear. And in traffic at the intersection with traffic, they did recommend putting a bigger hard shoulder going northbound but that was it, because if you drive past Frenchman's Creek, you'll see, going southbound, there's a big long hard shoulder, before you can pull out, but going northbound, there isn't. And then there is the middle, turnout lane in the middle as well. So, as far as the traffic study says, there was low impact, everything was fine.
Okay, I appreciate you coming here. This
Yeah.
was really helpful to hear directly.
Yeah, and if there's any other questions or anything like that, I'm happy to answer them. I'm also, happy to, have people come by and meet me and do the whole thing. So, that's an open invitation. There's hundreds of people, and maybe we schedule a day, but
Thanks. Do you have cards with you?
I didn't bring any cards, but I'll leave all my information before I leave. Yeah.
Thank you.
Ed, if you don't mind staying there, we have 3 hands raised, and to the public, I'm just going to ask that we're here for information. We're not here to, editorialize on the project itself, but we're just asking clarifying questions at this point. And I'm going to give Connie, council member preference.
Thank you. Thank you. And appreciate you coming, Edward. Really helpful. I just have one question. Well, because I haven't had a chance to look at any of the documentation. What is the maximum capacity that you're saying would be in the facility at any point in time?
So there's 12 campsites, 12 villas. So a villa would be 1 bedroom, so for a couple or, potentially for a family. And then the restaurant has 50 seats, and the cabanas that are in there, they might sound like extra rooms, but they're not. They're actually meeting rooms, meeting or function rooms. So if somebody were to come over and wanted a private birthday party or something like that at the restaurant, they wanted their own private room, they could use one of the cabanas and be in there. And so all of the capacity as far as the usage and trips and everything, all within the application. So I would direct you to that.
Thank you. I'll take a look at that. Thanks.
Greg?
This is going to be a big deal. So I just want to suggest some criteria for the council to consider. I don't really have any questions for the applicant because I'm assuming that they'll all be documented. As I understand it, this is then a county project. It is not Half Moon Bay. So one criteria would be evacuation, which, is already inadequate, and the traffic at the intersection as discussed. Then there's the fire risk from the campfires. You may recall we asked the GGNRA people to not put campsites in there when they tried to plan that. It's a high fire risk zone. And then, the stormwater study we did, the current county standards for evaluating stormwater are inadequate. The newest data is 10 years, 11 years out of date now. So the stormwater impacts on this project probably are not going to be properly assessed by the county if it continues to use the methods it has. Then there's the question of the infiltration and inflow on the sewer system, even though they're not connecting to a sewer system, and it's certainly worth considering that septic system and the risks there and the impact on the creek. But normal water flow from impermeable surfaces will create I&I on the existing sewer system. That will increase the flows, and thus the bill to whoever is on the hook for that stretch, which right now I think is the Midcoast. I think that would increase the sewer flows in the IPS to us. Could be Half Moon Bay, but somebody's not going to like that. And then a separate water district raises questions of oversight, whether there's a performance bond, compensatory damages for things that might happen, and the same thing for the sewer impact costs. I think a lot of research is going to be necessary, and a performance bond seems to make sense to me. I don't know what the Regional Water Quality Control Board would say, but certainly I would ask the council to consider involving them in this review. Thanks for your time, and I do appreciate the applicant has put in a lot of time and came here in a very upfront, forthright way. But there are a lot of significant concerns in a limited space here on the coast, with the water flowing well beyond the property it starts on. Thanks.
Thank you, Greg. Dan, do you have any clarifying questions?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, thanks for coming and, giving presentation, answering questions. You mentioned this traffic study. Some of these questions were kind of already asked. If you were to be operating at maximum capacity, I think that you probably already know estimated number of cars going in and out on French Springs Creek Road. Can you share that with us?
So that's all within the traffic study. So the traffic study, there's a whole county website, has a whole application on it. It's about 220 pages, our application so far. And when we resubmit, that's probably going to be 400 or 500 pages because we've basically completed all the county comments. But they did a whole 6 weeks or 1 month of monitoring all the traffic coming in and out of the facility. And all that data is in there. And then they did the study on whether the road could handle it, the intersection could handle it. They also did monitoring on the highway as well. So everything was comprehensively studied and done within the traffic study.
No, I get it. I've looked at a lot of traffic studies, and for your average community member, it's it's extremely difficult to sift through and understand, what is the final answer. So I'll just ask the question again. Are you not able to disclose the estimated number of cars, when you're operating at maximum capacity, including whatever farm workers that may be working somewhere else?
You asked that question, and he gave the best answer he can give right now without getting into, the minutia of traffic counts. But that information is provided.
Yeah, so I am going to be coming as well on the 30th, which is the official meeting. I've come here as a show of good faith. But on the 30th, we will have the meeting specifically about the project where the county is going to present the whole project. And then they will open it up to questions to me and my team. And I will have my whole team there that can help answer specific questions. So that will include, the civil, include environmentalists, and my geotech guys will be there as well. So any specific questions that you may have, you can direct it to them on that day if the county doesn't cover it.
Okay, so I'm hearing you say that I should be able to expect to have that answer given on September 30th. In simple, plain English.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Thank you, Ed.
Yeah.
Not coming.
I'm good.
So you did sign me up for the first day.
Okay. Thanks. All right. I'm gonna get out of here and open on that. Problems.
Chris, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The last item on our regular agenda today is basically probably going to be mostly an internal working time. We have unofficially invited all of these different agencies to come together and have a meeting on the parking situation through the Sort Free Speech area. But those meetings don't happen all by themselves. And we're going to have to figure out when we're going to have it, where we're going to have it, how are we going to invite people? What's the format? Do we need a moderator? And we'll probably have to assign various ones of us to take different parts of putting this meeting together so that we can actually get it off the ground. So I know Connie did some thinking on this and wrote an email on it at one point, but it's been a while and we haven't really had a chance to work on this yet. But hopefully you'll have some things to add, Connie. Is everybody clear on what this meeting is about?
I think so.
Okay, so where do you guys think we should start?
A head count. We need to estimate how many people are gonna join us in person. Is it gonna be in person?
Well, that's one of our questions.
Okay.
So, sorry, Claire, I thought we were gonna put a little structure on this, so I'm a little confused.
What structure were you proposing?
Well,
I'm open to anything. I just want to resolve it.
So I was thinking, there's 4 major things we need to approach tonight. The first one is, I think we kind of know what the goals of the meeting are, but it would be helpful to articulate those. Make sure we're all on the same page about what the goal of the meeting is, or goals. The second thing is timeline. Timeline for how long it takes to bring this meeting together, produce it, and, planning basically, and then to actually do the meeting, which is important. And I'm estimating it's going to be at least 4 weeks, depending on how efficient we are. And then, as Claire mentioned, the next thing is sort of whether we want a contract for a facilitator, and what facilitator's fee would be, and what role they would play. And then to actually formulate an agenda.
And the location.
Well, and we still do have to choose a location. That our choices are somewhat limited, so I guess I didn't think that was going to be such a big deal. But
I wouldn't be doing Ray's office. Ray's office is such bad acoustics, and the county we were trying to get a neutral turf where nobody on the panel was on their home turf, but I don't know. Maybe.
So Kimberly, are you saying 4 weeks for us to get our planning in place? Is that what your estimate was? Is that what you're saying?
I wish it could be faster, but I don't see us doing it faster unless somebody thinks I'm open to
If
optimistic.
meeting other than us going to be on the other side of the bill.
Or in Sacramento or somewhere, yeah.
I mean, just do it at my office in San Mateo.
Thank you.
Is it big enough to accommodate?
There are conference rooms there. Okay. So.
All right, let's check that one off the list. It's gonna be your place.
How big of a conference room are you talking about?
That's part of us, but it's easier, I assume, for all of them, and so I think it's.
Is it bigger than this room?
Bigger than this one, probably not bigger than, I mean, how many people have been?
Well, if with all the stakeholders, and I'm assuming there are more than just one person per agency, it could get pretty large.
About 12, maybe, but then we wanted people to attend.
No, I think there's going to be more than 12.
I think more than 12 too.
Yeah.
Given that
Would depend a little bit on how many, but let's figure out how many people in this first.
I'd really like it to be accessible to the coastside residents as much as possible. I think that's another question. If this is a public meeting, we're going to invite the entire public to come, right?
I thought it wasn't. I'm sorry. Then I misunderstood.
No, we don't decide that.
So this question was raised last time about Brown Act issues and what type of public meeting this is. Did we get a response from Tim about?
Oh yeah, I think if it's not gonna be a public meeting, then only 3 of us can attend.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, we can formulate questions that I can ask them. Is that what people are envisioning? Is that this is just going to be like the stakeholders and nobody else? And
I would think you would do the first meeting as a sort of closed session, like let's everybody get to know each other here and like understand what it is we're trying to accomplish and like all that kind of stuff. And then have a public meeting after that. But like, whatever, I think it's a little strange to just start public when people haven't even had a chance to like engage with each other yet.
Well, then you're going back to the goal of the meeting, right? Is the goal to get the stakeholders together at the same table to talk about their individual goals and to think about how they can collaborate to arrive at acceptable outcomes.
But if you don't, I'm sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, if you don't do that, as Gus is suggesting, then we would probably need even more time up front if you're trying to go to each of those groups independently and clarify for them purpose and the desired outcomes and stuff like that, versus doing it as Gus is suggesting with a small group to get them together and kind of figure out what I think if you don't do it with all of them in the room, then it's going to take potentially even longer than 4 weeks. And I don't know if that's what we'd want to do.
Scott and I just went to a charrette that was put on by the Corps of Engineers. I'm not saying it's the most wonderful meeting we ever went to, but they did put it together pretty quickly. And it was a multi-agency meeting. And they set out a doodle poll so when people could come, and then they said, okay, here's when the meeting is. And it was, they had about maybe 3 weeks lead time. And it was not open to the public. So is that sort of what you're kind of thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first time you get everybody in the room, just to talk, get to know each other and understand like what is even possible. That you should do that in closed session, because we don't even know what's possible. Like that's too disorganized to try to do. Doing that publicly, first of all, it'll just seem really super disorganized to the public, because it will be super disorganized. We haven't figured out what we're doing yet. And second, I think that just makes people less likely to, makes all the people who are trying to get to talk to each other less likely to actually do that in a
Public.
in a fully candid manner if we're doing it
So
publicly right out.
if we say, yeah, that's a good idea, we will still need a representative from the MCC there to say, hi, everyone, this is why you're here.
I mean, yeah, 3 of us should probably be there.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
max we can have.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
3 of us, have a meeting just like you suggested.
But it can't be an official MCC meeting. Correct? Because it have to open to the public.
Right, yeah, no, it wouldn't be no, it would just be some kind of gathering.
Something that happened.
It
Everybody
would
got
just be a
together.
gathering of officials from.
But
a
the
bunch of
work
different
group
agencies.
can report back to the community and saying, this is
Sure,
what happened.
of course.
So there's,
I would assume we would absolutely do that.
yes, okay, so,
An after action report is, of course.
yes. So I'm sure people are worried about that. You're gonna do something behind closed doors and not tell us what happened?
It's like, it's not a meeting where I think anything's gonna
It's
be,
gonna happen, yeah.
actions are not gonna be decided so much in that meeting, more like what is even possible?
Okay.
Like how is everybody gonna like possibly like coordinate?
Well, I'm just advocating you, right?
Yeah, no, I know, which you should.
Well, it's to open communications.
Yes, it's to open a line of communication and understand what is possible through collaboration. And then in a public meeting, we figure out what does anybody actually do? But
Okay.
that would be how I would think.
It's it's like the pre-workshop type thing. It's like,
Yeah, this is just like organizational planning. This isn't.
that's right. That's right.
doing topics or something.
Yep.
Can't you just do it on Zoom then?
We're
Pre-
talking.
I mean, I think that in my experience, these sorts of things are more productive if you do them in person. But
Yeah, typically over lunch or something as well, or something.
right, food's always better.
Yep, food's always better.
Okay, so what have we figured out?
Okay, so far,
Planning meeting, 3 of us. I don't think we figured out yet exactly how many people from the other agencies would be there with the 3 of us. We should at least roughly figure that out. And then based on that size of that number, whether we do it here in like someplace like this thing or.
so if we could, like Kimberly said, define what you expect to get from the meeting and invite them and say, please let us know if you're gonna have a representative, then we'll have a head count. And then we can figure out where to have the meeting, right? If only one organization says, I will be there in person, but I'm happy to be there on Zoom, then again, we would pick a different spot, right? Pick a different location.
Is an agenda like each. Like we've got all these, the point is we've got all these different projects going on in the same place
Yes.
and there's no, right, so maybe each project representative gives a short, here's what our project is.
Yeah.
And what our timelines are and where we are in our process. And once everybody's done that, then there's okay, so what is possible in terms of collaboration to maximize the stuff that gets accomplished while minimizing the impact on everybody who lives here.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah,
So is
that
a
what you're
series of presentations and then a brainstorm on what kind of collaboration is possible given these projects and their various parameters and constraints.
So you just defined what we'd like to see in the meeting, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I'm proposing that as a
I think
organizational structure for the meeting.
I think the reason why MCC is trying to take a role in, you know, creating this collaboration is because we don't hear from the community that this is a set of insulated issues that have at least one word that is common to each one of them, just parking. You know, what we're hearing is that what I believe is that they're a set of common related issues that ought to be discussed in a more integrated way. And so that, to me, just an acknowledgement of that, or hearing from each entity why they don't see it that way, that would be, you know, a success in the meeting to me. Just try to get them to you know, understand that there is interrelated issues to these.
Yeah, I mean, we could frame when we move to the collaboration kind of brainstorm chunk of the meeting, say as a framing thing to say, here are some of the issues that have been coming up as these individual projects have moved through our, and there are some commonalities, and these commonalities are really the areas where we most like to, aspirationally most like to see some collaboration from all these different projects, which would include parking is probably I would guess the number one thing, but I'm sure there are others. We can certainly prepare a list of what we think those are and offer them in advance. These are the issues we would expect to be discussing.
Is that gonna be part of this invitation email?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you're really going to get to that type of level of work, you really need to. Each group would have to have background materials or understanding of the other group's project in some level of detail and common framework of what you're talking about. You know, people refer to things differently within different agencies. I mean, that could be quite a bit of work if you really think you're going to get to a collaboration session, which is not what I was thinking was going to happen. I was thinking.
I apologize if that's the impression that I gave. I wasn't.
No, you didn't. That's I'm saying to
Yeah.
us, suggesting
Oh.
that, and I'm saying that's much more detailed and needs to typically be a facilitated type of workshop.
Well, that's why I would say the first thing that would happen would be everybody presenting their projects, so that we could have that background. I guess is what I'm saying, and then just having a brainstorm about what we think might be possible. Not coming to any like firm decisions about doing anything, but just trying to sketch out what is the option space.
That is a much more detailed workshop type thing, though. That is typically when you've got five agencies involved. You're talking about a much more detailed type of workshop.
Okay, so make me a counter offer. What kind of workshop do you?
No, I think that you could lay out the groundwork and then stop and give them time to comprehend that. They'd probably have to go back and look at more details about, you could have one person there. They may need to collaborate with 3 or 5 people within their own agency. If you start talking about potential alternatives or things like that, it would be if you really want it to be as effective as we're hoping it would be, I would think that would take a second type meeting. I think you could introduce, lay out the projects, disseminate information and say, we want you to come back, but give them time to absorb some of this information and maybe do some research on their own.
Okay, so you could frame it as, now that you've heard everybody's projects and here's our list of, areas where we'd love to see collaboration.
Yep.
Take that back and let's have a follow-up meeting in X number of months where everybody brings some actual ideas about what they think is possible based on what you heard today. Is that what you're?
Yeah, I am suggesting that. Maybe that's public, I don't know, but I think you have to give people an opportunity to really take the time to really absorb the information if we want them to really consider 3 or 4 other things that are going on simultaneously that they may or may not have any awareness of whatsoever.
I don't think you make a decision right away about whether the second meeting is public or not, because I think that depends on what people feel like they're able.
Yeah,
to-
I agree. I agree. I'm just saying, I think it's probably a second meeting.
I think a neutral facilitator would be really essential even to get to this point.
Yeah.
Okay, how do we make that happen? Like, who does-
And what do we expect from that person? So are they gonna write the invitation? Are we gonna say, hey, facilitator person, will you please invite these government organizations?
No, we can do that, but
Okay.
but this is somebody who kind of runs the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kind of, you
Okay.
know. if
No
it starts
vested interest
up-
in it.
Okay.
Yeah, and as by being neutral, they're able to listen and maybe hear things a little more clearly than somebody
Okay.
on the other side of the table that's, you know, got a vested interest in
Okay.
one aspect of the combined set of issues. And then is able to, you know, facilitate getting to that point that Gus is saying, like, okay, we've laid out everybody's, you know, expressed what their issues are, describe their project, express what their issues, they've even made a contribution to what the, what'd you say, the possible options.
The option space.
Yeah, what that is, and sets us up for the next meeting, the next phase.
Okay. Can we?
The professional facilitators like that, I mean, they can be really effective.
Okay.
And you know, if you get the right one, they can also be somebody that sort of stands off the corner and you wonder why you paid them to show up.
Well, some of you guys have much more experience than some of the rest of us in terms of putting these things together, who we might want to ask, so go for it.
As some people, you know, contacts in the environmental consulting community that have to do public workshops for controversial projects, and they might be able to recommend some.
Mm-hmm. I know people that do strategy work, but I can't tell you they'd be inexpensive. That's for sure. So it would really be, you know, how are we going to fund something like that? I definitely know people, but
We do have some money. We have to decide whether we want to spend it and how much, but we do have some.
So I think any facilitator, at least my preference would be for somebody who's not previously worked for the county before.
mm-hmm.
Or for any of the other agencies.
So should we start putting out action items?
Yes.
Find a facilitator, craft an invitation. And the invitation has to have a date on it, right? We need to say, what's the date going to be?
We could do a doodle poll like
Yeah, I think you have
Barb
to-
introduced it.
Yeah, you have to do a doodle poll.
I don't even know what doodle poll is. I know what doodling is, but I don't know what a doodle poll is. So whatever we need, whatever we need to do to figure the date out. Okay, so.
Um,
So, all
Could
right,
somebody take a stab at outlining the objective, clarifying the purpose of the meeting?
Kimberly's been writing notes
I
while
do have notes.
Gus and I are speaking.
so Connie, you're saying you are interested in. That sounds like the invitation to me. It would be,
It was not an invitation. If you're asking for a task, someone has to
oh, I see. Oh,
clarify, you know, the
yes.
problem and right, and what we're
Absolutely.
hoping to outcome of
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
In the invitation, right? And sending out the invitation, what the purpose of the meeting is, right? And the stakeholders.
Well, we've
identify.
already sent out our previous letter, right? So all these people are expecting us to get in touch with them about this. This is already
Yeah, they're
been
waiting.
prepped.
Mhm.
So
Say, where is it?
I think Claire and I were thinking that the next step is to see about availability and see if we can get them all, you know, in some window. And then send out an invitation.
So if we
Or
send out
confirm the meeting.
a doodle poll, and I don't know if it's appropriate to include the purpose of the meeting in the doodle poll. I think it might be nice so they know what we're talking about. And give them all dates for like 3 weeks out or something. And then after we get that, then we can line up a definite location and a definite moderator.
Yeah, you have to give them a time, besides the time, like how much time you think you need and what, just a tentative agenda or something, right? Something high level. They need to know who to bring to the meeting.
10 minutes for each of the projects to present. And
yeah.
Like half an hour of discussion after, so it's capped at an hour.
Well, you're gonna need some time before you approach the actual projects for the agencies to understand how they overlap, right? There's the umbrella, the overarching reason for this meeting is that these agencies operate in a very siloed fashion. And so I could totally see that they all know each other to some extent. But I'm not sure that they all have worked together necessarily in that kind of way or understand clearly what each has jurisdiction over. So there's going to need to be some amount of time spent just sort of getting everybody at the same place at the table.
I think everybody's
So you don't think that?
most of the way there already.
Okay.
They know what their lanes are.
I think there should be some way to integrate, not just the agency's position, but some of the concerns of the community. As
to set a tone going forward that more collaboration is needed on the coast side, that this is what the public wants.
Yeah.
And that they need to look at different ways of operating. That's just
That's the
my
MCC's
straightforward
message that it's carrying to this meeting.
right.
So the MCC may want to make a brief presentation.
But as
we should be the
voice of the community.
Yeah, I mean, we're the ones organizing this meeting. I would think we would be the ones to kind of kick it off, and I would say all that stuff is kind of a framing discussion before we.
At the end of the meeting, what do you want it? What do you want everybody to come out with?
We want them to go back and talk to their agencies about what other options they see, or what else the next steps should be, or something.
Yeah, to define like what possibilities do they think their agency has to collaborate with the other agencies you heard today on given the projects that everybody has.
So that's what I'm trying to pull apart, because what I'm hearing is two different things. There's this higher level of what you just said, just collaboration in general.
Mm.
And then there's this individual projects thing, right?
Well, that's what triggered all of this, is that there's multiple overlapping projects.
Right. So how are you going to articulate that in terms of the goals and what you want to come away with from this meeting? Because they're two different things. They're not the same thing.
I think the overall goal is to increase cooperation and collaboration among the different agencies that provide services and planning for the Midcoast.
And so by that, then we wouldn't get into discussing any particular projects.
No, I don't think, no.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
The context, though.
Yes, so the first meeting is everybody presents their specific projects. And the takeaway from that meeting is, now that you've heard what the different projects are, because you may have only had a vague sense that there are other projects going on. In your project that you are doing right now, where do you see opportunities to collaborate with the other projects you heard today? That is the specific proximate goal of the meeting, which then hopefully sets a new kind of standard and ethos for, broadly speaking, when you are doing projects on the coast side. So we're kind of doing this now midstream, and it's obviously more complicated because we're doing it midstream, but because there are going to be other projects coming in the future, let's try to be more proactive in the future. Like, this is our first thing to kick off, not just dealing with the current situation, but trying to set a new standard for how planning is done on this coast, particularly with regard to interagency collaboration. But that's a broader thing that comes out of this specific discussion about these specific problems.
Okay.
So do you think that we need the moderator to push this in a particular direction? Because everyone can say, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm doing, and all, at the end of the meeting, they say, oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
But
Well, but then you're tasking, you're saying, but now your homework for the next meeting, because there will be a next one.
Okay.
Homework for the next one is to come to that second meeting with ideas
Okay,
for how your project can collaborate with the other projects.
so for instance, go ahead, sorry.
I'm kind of along the same lines with you. It's not just collaborating, it's the issues that the projects are bringing forward to the community that we need to express. So, at some level, right? To Scott's point, they all operate independently. They have the rights potentially to do the projects that they've got on land, but the problem is that they're impacting the community in a negative way. So we are really looking for some types of solutions to mitigate some of the concerns of the community, right? So that has to come into play somehow.
Well, but only within the context of the projects collaborating with each other. The more general commenting on the various specific aspects of specific projects is what the normal public process for individual projects actually is. This meeting is specifically about how do we address any of these issues within the context of these different projects actually collaborating with each other. It's not it's very narrowly within that one dimension.
But they're gonna say to you, why? Why?
Well,
Why do I have to?
And we have to say to them, did Caltrans, did you know you're taking away parking? And then we say to GGNRA, hey, did you know that you're taking away parking too? And then we could say, oh, they're not gonna allow people to park in El Granada because there's regulations up there that say no street parking. Did you know this was gonna happen? And so it seems, I don't know this to be true or not, but it seems to me at some point, we're gonna have to push the conversation.
Yeah, we may have to
So,
switch the
and
conversation.
okay, so to the moderator,
Any good facilitator is gonna know what's needed.
okay,
in that
good, well,
situation.
we know we won't, we have to tell them.
Yeah, we
With
do
the-
have to.
We have
I
to
mean,
tell them.
You would go through a planning process with the facilitator to tell them what you want out of the meeting, and you would work with that person to develop the
Okay,
agenda
good,
and how
okay.
the meeting unfolds.
Okay,
They're gonna know how to, deal with these different issues and situations
and so
move forward.
is that part of this first meeting? Is that something you want to have happen during the first meeting?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay,
You have to tell the issues, right?
I
okay.
mean, if you don't get past the first meeting, there may not be a second meeting, right?
Right, because they say, here's what I'm doing, and they all say what they're doing, and they all shake hands and leave, right?
Yeah.
You have to push, right? The
Well, I think
moderator has
that's
to
how
push
you,
this.
you structure it in such a way that it's moving towards a particular
Okay,
endpoint.
does that have to
right?
be specified in why
Yeah,
they're coming to the
would be-
meeting?
It would be specified.
Okay,
And it's something that whatever group is gonna be doing that particular part of this project, we'll have to take some time to sit down with the moderator and tell them where we wanna go.
okay. Can we get some action items now?
Yes, please.
So I'm asking for, I don't know what they are exactly, but what do we want to act on right now? What do we want to do now? I think we have a general idea of what we think the meeting should be about. We know who the people are. What's the next step? What is the first act? So should we find a moderator? Should that be an action item?
Yes,
Okay.
we should schedule the meeting. That's it.
Yeah, we
And
gotta
then do
find
the-
somebody and, kind of interview them or have them interview us and find out if they're, they have to understand what they're being asked to do, then they have to figure out how it fits into their schedule too.
You have to give them background materials, right? They need to get the background.
We can give them that. That's possible.
Yeah, but it's still, that still is a task that has to be done, right? All the background across all them. Current
So should
materials.
we write these things down and look for volunteers to do these things? Is that where we're at right now?
That's one approach. We could form a meeting group who's gonna work on this.
You want to do it like that?
I mean, what do you guys suggest? Do you have a different way of making these things happen?
No, that'd be the fastest way is to have a small non-quorum group.
So 3 people.
Right now, I'm hearing the most vocal people are Chris and Gus and Connie.
Would you guys be open to that? Okay.
Yep.
That's our first action item. You guys have to get together and figure this out. In regards to what we're talking about, and then, isn't that true, right? I mean, I'm just looking for things to do. I'm just looking
Yeah,
for
it's good.
actions.
Very action oriented.
So is that the best way to do this?
I don't know, me.
So, okay, I mean, I don't want to tell you what to do, but like I said, I just. I want us
Just
to
do
move,
something.
progress,
Make
yes.
a plan.
Well, those three people I just identified do not have to be the group. I mean, however we want to structure.
No, I'm good with that. That's what the Brown Act says, 3 people are gonna meet on this, right?
Unless we do say, okay, here's 3 people that are working on the invitations and scheduling. Here's 3 people that are working on the agenda and the moderator. We could do that too.
Okay.
Well, I'll definitely work on the moderator. I think I can talk to some people who may have some recommendations.
I could see you some as well. I used to be a certified
Certified what?
facilitator,
Oh.
community facilitator.
Okay,
Uh,
great. So,
those are-
so you two would work on aligning someone as a facilitator? Is that,
I'll start doing the legwork.
that'd be
Done.
great.
Okay,
Great.
the other work group was about, what was that one about?
Scheduling and invitations.
Scheduling and invitation.
So agenda and an invitation.
That would be, yeah.
Okay.
Then there's deciding on a venue.
Uh,
I think we have to wait till we know how many people are coming.
that's
Good
better.
and
I'll definitely do it, but we need to know what size it's gonna be and whether they're gonna come in person.
I'm guessing we need to prepare for at least 25 to 30 people.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you said you wanted to be, it's not gonna be public,
Right.
so it can be
We're
in,
talking about 7 entities who are
Right.
probably gonna send
2 to 3 at least.
up to 3 or more people each.
okay. And they are from all over the place. So it still could be at your place, if we wanna look for something for free. Do you
I
have?
just have to see if there's an old 25, like if everybody sent 2 and there were 3 to 17, that I think we could do. I have to see if there's.
Or let's limit it to 2 per organization.
I'll
How's that
let me
sound?
just double check.
Okay,
I don't.
okay.
Double check.
So do we have somebody to work on the invitation? Who knows what's going on? Who knows what to say? Or can we just plagiarize the last email?
What if I don't get on any of these groups, but I'm like somebody you could all talk to individually? Would that be helpful?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so in terms of assigning tasks here, facilitator, Chris, and I guess we can all send you suggestions. I've got scheduling, invitation, venue. So who's taking all these?
That would not be my forte, to schedule anything or make sure something happened.
What's your forte?
I'm a spokesman. I'm the cultural attaché.
It's got some pretty face on the meeting.
Yes. I can be there in public. I can go to the thing. I can
You
help.
could be our introductory speaker.
Could do
Well,
that.
He's like face man from the 18.
Okay, so who's gonna work
People
on
like
finding a
you.
venue?
Well,
Do you wanna work on that?
I think they said they wanted to put that off until they knew how many people were coming.
Connie?
I'll let me verify.
I was just gonna say, do you not think, are you feeling like we couldn't ask the county for a conference room? I mean, they have large conference rooms as well, or large facilities. Is that something? You just want to keep it off of those grounds?
But the county is involved in this.
I know, but I'm just saying if they've got.
You
bigger-
can't level the table if you're using a county facility. I mean, it's just not gonna happen.
Oh, that's too
I don't know that I'd agree with that, but that's okay if we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And we can try some other venues though, for sure. I see Matthew just asked about the HMB library conference room. I don't know what that sits, but
There's a couple of them.
So who wants to take the lead with the venue?
I'll
Owen?
do it. I'll check on the library. You check on, just get back to me with your size.
senior
Anything I can think of.
We can send you a
senior
list.
co-siders would use theirs. I'm sure senior I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. They have a very big room for where they, cafeteria types, a big room that they block off, but I'm sure we could get them to let us use that.
Adcock?
Senior
At
center.
Adcock, yeah.
That's big.
Once again, have Bay as a participant.
Got it.
Okay.
Well, senior co-siders isn't, so they see
Yeah.
people.
I mean, there's, who wants to take on the scheduling?
That's just sending a doodle poll, right?
Yeah,
With explanations attached. Yeah.
Oceana Gatehouse.
I think the hotel's charged though.
good space.
Possibly the school district could provide something.
Yeah. I think you just need the agenda laid out, or what we want to set in the node for the agenda, right? Then is that the last thing? So they would know who to bring to the meeting.
Well, so the agenda you would formulate with your facilitator.
No, we tell the facilitator what the agenda is gonna be. We're gonna tell
No,
them what
you
to
have
do.
You'll have to work with this facilitator to finalize an agenda because that person is gonna bring some insight that we. I mean. I can't imagine we're gonna come up with the final agenda just, I mean. If you wanna come up with a draft, but I think you're gonna
Seems
have
pretty
to work with
simple.
the facilitator.
Okay. So we still, but we do need something like that to go into the invitation to these
Yeah.
groups, right?
So you know so they know who to bring, right?
Yeah.
And we've set a date for that in our letter.
So do you want to just plagiarize the letter?
Yeah.
That's where I'd start. Yeah.
Okay, let's just do that.
We don't want to be inconsistent.
And that includes whatever this donkey poll or whatever we're talking about.
Doodle
poll, yeah.
Okay,
I
whatever
think
this.
I'm gonna call it polls from now on.
Okay, all right. So who's gonna do that? Who's gonna plagiarize the last email?
Have you ever tried Let Us Meet? That's what I use.
I've actually never done a doodle poll either.
Oh,
I've done them, yeah. They're not hard to do. We can do them. I can work on that if you want. I'll work on getting the date. If you've got something written up that we're sending it to them.
well, I can help with the scheduling too. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kimberly, Connie. What else?
Oh, so before we send out the invitation, do we need to know where the venue is? There's this chicken and egg stuff happening right now. So let's estimate size then.
I think we should send out the agenda, I mean, the doodle poll, whatever it is, as soon as we reasonably can.
Okay.
And then as quickly as possible, after we get those results, tell people where it's gonna be.
Okay.
So we should be working on options for where it could be,
Okay.
but I don't think we have to tell them immediately.
Okay.
Well,
You can just say on the coast side if we can do it on the coast side.
so there's one problem here, and that is if we want to do all this before our next meeting.
No, I don't think so. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm just looking at, there's a group of 3 people, but we've assigned tasks for more than 3 people. So, I mean, we can't have, for the Brown Act, we can't, I'm a little confused about this kind of organizing in terms of the Brown Act. How does that apply?
I don't think to worry about that.
That's why but I was saying, why don't I just stay out of this, and then when you guys do your doodle poll, tell me what day you've come up
I'm not
with.
talking to anybody about schedule or venue. I'm only talking to you about moderators.
Well, I mean, I think things like that it doesn't apply to, right?
Yeah, I think it only applies to things we would have to vote.
Substantive
right?
issues, right? Substantive topics.
Yeah, meeting planning logistics, I'm sure does not rise to the level.
Okay, well, Just want
No,
to
no,
make
it's,
sure.
it's a good question because.
Okay.
If you don't want to run afoul of it, I don't think it'll.
All right, so are we still trying to figure out how to write the invitation? Do we know how that's gonna be done?
I don't think it's complicated.
Okay, then, okay, can you do it then?
Yes.
Okay. So that's all the tasks we have. That's everything we need to do, right? What do you
For
think?
now. Mhm.
For now, okay.
So we come to our next meeting and we have all these things figured out by then. Is that,
Oh, well, I can do some groundwork on what I'm supposed to be doing.
so we'll have a venue chosen.
No options, I will let you know.
Options.
I'll have options. We won't choose it. We'll choose it at the next meeting. I'll come back with what's available and then we pick one.
Okay.
And then from that, the next October meeting, then we would proceed to implement and get the meeting on the calendar.
I think we have enough to execute at that point, right?
I mean, yeah, very little time.
Well,
So we're looking at October, November, right? So
well, if we can come back to the next meeting and say, for instance, I say, hey, listen, I looked at 3 venues. I don't, and none of them meet our criteria. I'm gonna tell you that. And then I'll have to say, I'm gonna have to explore other options. It could be in somewhere else. Are you okay with this?
right.
So, or I could say, hey, all 3 are good. The other dates are wide open, and we can do it in the evening at any one of these places. But I will come back with that information.
I'm just trying to emphasize that all these projects are moving while we're doing all this. And so
There's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah.
the sooner we do this, the
Oh,
better.
absolutely. Yeah, you don't wanna lose momentum regardless.
But we can't just sit here and say, oh, we gotta wait until they issue this paper or that paper because
No.
we'll be waiting forever and,
Right.
and we'll miss whatever we're supposed to.
Well,
miss.
my concern is that there are other independent meetings happening and people are gonna go to these meetings potentially. And then they're gonna say, I don't wanna spend any more of my time on this, and so I don't wanna waste my time with this other meeting.
But
How can we deal with that?
That's a possible outcome. There's 2 possible outcomes. I'm not coming. Period. I'm doing my own thing. Or they all come together and say, hey, we all sounds good. That's all, we're doing our thing. But we have made an effort to get them together, and that's really the goal.
Okay,
That's what we're trying to do, right?
great.
Okay, so you got 2 people working on the facilitator, and then did I understand, Kimberly, you're drafting the invitation? Is that,
I'll take a first stab at drafting the invitation and then we can all give feedback.
okay, and then we just have to then come back with invitations to be sent out afterwards then. And
Correct.
Scott will have some options for meeting.
Yes. So Chris typed into the chat and he has his hand up over there and he wants to know what the goal is, or do you want to have Chris tell us right now? He has his hand up. Should we go to him? Go ahead, Chris.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I appreciate, I really do, and I know there's several MCC members who don't know who I am because I've been out of the loop for a while, but I have served on the MCC. I was chair of the MCC. So I understand where you're coming from, and I appreciate the effort to get these agencies together and talk about their projects and where they overlap and where we could have some synergy on that. But and I'm just being honest with you right now. And unfortunately, I'm on speaker, so I can't see you, and it's hard to be in the moment when I can't see who I'm speaking to. So I'm just speaking to my phone. But these agencies, they're not going to want to come to this meeting. They've got these projects. They make these general presentations like they do to the MCC, where there's very little pushback, very little interrogative questioning. There's I don't understand this, or could you provide this information? But they're not there to give these presentations to win the argument. They're there to just tell the MCC, this is what we're doing, and move on. And so you're asking all these agencies to come together and find out where they can Do you know that there's another project? They know these projects are going on. Harbor District and Caltrans are in lockstep about their project that they're working on. So these agencies are aware of these other projects. And so that's why I'm not being facetious and I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. But what is the objective here? Because I say to you, MCC, as an alumnus of the MCC and as a co-sider, you are setting the MCC up here to be kicked, to have a kick me sign on them. These agencies already have no respect for the MCC, and you're asking them to come together. They're not going to want to do it, to make another presentation of their project. The MCC has no authority. They cannot participate in this in any kind of decision-making way. And you're giving away any power or control you might have a vestige of by talking about it, having it off site from the Midcoast and with a moderator. If you want to have the MCC involved in this, then you own the meeting, you run it, and you ask some concerted, specific questions and demand answers. That's the only way the MCC is going to move any ball anywhere, is to start demanding answers. And I don't mean by being a jerk and yelling at people. I mean by saying that doesn't answer the question, representative of such and such a group. These are the questions. And I don't know if you have those questions. Again, I was in the chat saying, what is the objective? What is our goal? The effort is the goal. I don't think that's a win for the MCC or the Midcoast if organizing this meeting and sitting off to the side while a moderator runs it. I don't think it's going to work. We just went through 6 or 7 years of Connect the Coast Side, which was basically a thing like this where the county got all these agencies together so they would know their project and the projects would have synergy. Where is Connect the Coast Side right now? Why are we having this discussion if we just spent years getting Connect the Coast Side? I'm going to quit. I'm going to click done speaking just so I can see you guys. And I know you've given me a lot of time and I really appreciate that. I maybe would like to comment later after other people have commented, but I really appreciate you giving me the chance. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just trying to be realistic about what the MCC's role is, what our perception is among these other agencies, and what really you expect to come out of this meeting in any kind of tangible way. Thank you very much. I appreciate you giving me the time to speak.
Chris, I think we really looked at what we can do and what we can't do, and I think this is a stretch for us. I agree, we don't have any real power. Our only power is persuasion and communication. And we decided to do this, and I think we're going to try. I would hope that I'm not being overly optimistic and disagreeing with you in saying that most of these agencies have no regard for us at all. The meeting, the big interagency meeting that Scott and I went to recently, there were several people unprompted from various different agencies, including Caltrans and others, who said, one of the best resources is the MCC. One of the best people that really understand what's going on the Midcoast is the MCC. I think we have at least a little bit of moral leadership that we can leverage, even though we don't have any real power.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I think, Chris, thanks for your comments too. I'd agree. It is concerning, but I think that's where Scott, I think, was alluding to with we have to state what the problems are and where the issues are for the community, and pushing to say the facilitator has to move things in that direction to get to answers on that. And I think we were just potentially hoping by using a facilitator, it could help get more collaboration from them or get them to speak more openly, as opposed to it being an MCC person pounding on them about something. So I think, we've heard that in the past too, that the MCC is aggressive and confrontational, and we're trying to find a way to do this that may be a different path to take. Maybe the right way, maybe not, but we definitely need to bring the issues that we're seeing from the community, for the community, to the agencies. So I don't think we're just looking for, that type of collaboration. It's got to be, our issues have to be brought forward.
If I could just jump in, Chris, I appreciate your opinion. And no doubt this is a bit of a heavy lift. I think my frustration, and what I hope this meeting will at least chip away at, is the fact that we go from one person to one person to one person to find out details for different projects or even one project. None of these individuals have talked to each other. And so you have to put together a picture that's often incoherent. Two stakeholders are working together while three other stakeholders have no idea what's going on. And so if nothing else, getting them all in a room together to just have to talk to each other and acknowledge that they exist, to me would be a huge success. Because there's always little agreements going on between this agency and that agency, and then the others are left out. And the people who suffer from this way of working is the community itself. The agencies, they just pick up their cards and walk away. But it's the people who are here on the ground that have to live with their decisions and the way they operate that, you know, that's where the problem is. Those people are just left to deal with the pieces, and that shouldn't be the case. And I think it's reasonable to ask for these professional agencies that are supposed to serve the public to come together to talk to each other.
So I think we're going to do this. And I think we have people who know what the next steps are that they're going to be responsible for.
There's
I'd
still
like
three
to-
more hands raised.
I see Dan and Sid.
What time is it? It's
9:41.
Let's give them each 3 minutes.
2
2
minutes.
minutes.
2 minutes. Give me each 2 minutes.
Okay. Dan, 2 minutes.
Wow. I heard you take a deep breath to have the community, to hear from the community. I think I deserve more than 3 minutes. I
You
think
have-
I agree.
No, you can have 2 minutes and you're in it.
I think I agree with Kimberly that you know, in the sense that the community will be you know, stuck with the pieces and stuck possibly with, you know, things that they don't like. So this is a public community council, and you went ahead and made your decision without any community input. I think that's kind of sad. Sorry to say that, but I just have to be straight. I think it's. I think you're making a grave mistake. I think it's very, very, very important that agencies hear from the community before they start to frame ideas. I think they've already got their ideas framed, and they're just thinking of ways of how to push them through. And there's going to be a lot of back and forth arguing and saying, "Oh, can't do this, can't do that." So I think it's very important that it's just apparent that the community gets a opportunity to speak to these agencies first before they go back and start framing their ideas. I think it should be, you know, I'm actually, well, I think consider asking the county to co-host with a lot of the details. I'm hearing you, you know, I think you guys are going to be overwhelmed. That's just a suggestion. I don't know. There may be some negatives to that I'm not aware of, but you know, I think that they should be able to help. The county is supposed to work for the community, period. So the county should be there to help with this, and it should be controlled by the community. I want to say, whatever happens, you should have a professional mobile audio that's tested first, so there's no audio problems, which is so common.
Okay, Dan, thank you.
And I suggest Cypress Meadows and Moss Beach. MCC has had meetings there in the
They're not
past.
open anymore.
Okay, didn't know that.
Minutes, thank you.
How about Sid?
Thank you. I do agree with what Chris Johnson said to some extent. And partly because I sat here for, it seemed like 30 minutes, you didn't call on the public while you were talking. I never really heard what the subject was till near the end. I couldn't get what you were trying to accomplish. And it sounded like you guys weren't sure either. So I'd hate to have you go to all this trouble just to have people say they can't come to your meeting. But if what Kimberly said works out, I think it's a plus. So I don't know. I'm hoping maybe you'll try to keep it on the coast side and um, listen. But you know, I agree. The Midcoast Community Council has no clout whatsoever, and usually we're the last to ever get called in on any kind of plan for the community. But what Kimberly said, was very appropriate about these agencies get together and make their own side plans, and then they tell the community what they've decided. Because I remember the post office lot that got sold. I think the Harbor District sold it to the Fire District, or one way or the other. I forget who sold it to who, but um, same thing with the old fire station. People were looking to use that as a possible community center. All of a sudden, now the sheriff's office got to take it over. So I wish they would use the MCC more as a clearinghouse before they make their decisions. But I think Kimberly is right. They don't necessarily always do that. But good luck with if you have your meeting. I kind of feel like Chris said, they might just ignore you. But it's a start. You might as well try. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice.
I see Steve Terry.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey
Steve?
guys, just a few thoughts here. One is I'm sort of echoing the thought that somehow the public should be involved in this first meeting. I think even if you satisfy all your goals of making it a private meeting, you run a huge risk of making it seem like it was all contrived and back room deals and that sort of thing. So even in a successful situation, it may not turn out well. Also, it would be nice to maybe include or invite a few members of the public to be part of that 3-person MCC team. That's maybe a compromise way of handling it. Like I nominate Chris, but anyway, that would be a way to sort of mitigate that a little bit, is invite some members of the public to be with the 3 MCC members in those private discussions. And then lastly, I would say that you might want to get input from Supervisor Mueller as to what he would like to see as his goals and objectives and needs and desired outcomes from this meeting, the subsequent meeting, the private meeting and the public meeting. After all, you're sort of advisors to him, so he should be guiding you on this to a large extent, I would think. Those are my thoughts.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm done. Thanks. Go ahead, Claire.
We're trying to work that out with him. At this point, he says he respects our having a separate meeting that doesn't involve him directly. And he will support us in any way he can. He is having a public meeting on the parking lot per se. And we see these 2 meetings as complementary. He's aware of this and supportive.
That's good.
Okay, so I will send out an email tomorrow, which you guys can respond to me directly, please, as to what you are actually working on and what your time frame is for getting it done. Okay. And we'll take it from there.
Hearing from the public, I'm sort of feeling like we're half baked and how do we bring the public into this meeting? I think the points just made are important points.
So how do you want, at what level? Do you want to say, hey, this is a Zoom meeting, but we're locking everybody out?
I think that's a possibility.
Or we're having a Zoom meeting and it's a free for all? Or are we inviting people to the site to come in? I mean,
It is a
what do you
good
want?
point that the public pressure is what gets results.
But that's
And
what we're responding to.
We're
That's why we're trying to, pull
Exactly.
these agencies together. That was the impetus for our letter.
Exactly.
If we do a Zoom, everybody.
But is there value to having the public attend this meeting? I mean, I take this point that, meetings done in secret, which is kind of what we're complaining about, is exactly what this might end up looking like, and that's not a good look.
Well, when after the tunnel was closed way back when, there was an interagency meeting. It was before the days of Zoom, but there was an interagency meeting where they discussed what was going on with the tunnel. And the public attended. The public was not vocal, was not supposed to participate, but they were they were encouraged to attend and to hear what the people had to say. I mean, maybe there's something like that.
So is there any rule that if it's a public meeting, public comment has to be?
This is not a public meeting, or it wasn't a public meeting. Why don't I also write, or one of us can write to Tim Fox and get.
That would be
Maybe.
good.
I see Chrislyn raised her hand.
Ready to hear from Crystalline?
Okay.
Chrislyn, do you?
Go ahead.
Hi. Thank you so much. I think this conversation keeps going back to what your motivation is. And I totally understand why the public wants to be a part of the meeting. But if the goal is to have a space where you can start the big U, not just MCCU, but that the agencies can start mending fences of things that have been broken in the past because of poor communication on all sides, they're going to watch every word they say if the public has their eyes on them. And I don't think you will get the dialogue that you would hope for to start going down the yellow brick road of trust. I think you guys are at a crossroads where you're in this middle ground where you're kind of being seen as a more collaborative MCC than people have felt was happening in the past. And people are coming to presentations and not feeling as quote unquote beat up as they have in the past. And so if you convene a large meeting with everybody, but they're just going to be defensive and have their cackles up the whole time, I don't think you'll get out of it what you are hoping to get out of the first meeting, which would then lead to a public meeting where there is a bit more understanding and appreciation of every agency's part in the overall scheme of things. Just my 2 cents.
I think that is the correct perspective. Even just in Sid's feedback, she's like, it was confusing for her. She's like, you guys don't know what you're doing, and it's confusing for her to listen to. And that's because we were trying to figure it out. And you try to do that with 7 agencies and like 3 projects and everything. I mean, I feel like it's gonna be a disaster for the public to listen to that discussion.
Point made. It also occurs to me that Chrislyn has this interagency meeting occurring monthly now, and we should have somebody at that meeting every single time.
Yeah.
We are.
Well,
I think
Kevin was going to go. I can go in his absence. I thought he was going, right?
I'm supposed to be going, but I have missed 2 meetings because of unavoidable circumstances.
Kevin was able to attend the last one.
Yeah, but he's okay. Well,
Yes,
I can certainly, you can just let me know when it is. I can try to go. If you're busy, Claire, he is. So if somebody goes.
Well, I'd like to go too. Can more than one person go?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. As long as it falls within your Brown Act, rules, absolutely can come. But more than one of you can come.
Okay, and is there an agenda that's circulated before each meeting?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, that's fine then. Kevin is out, so it's great he could come, but then he can't bring it back if he's out for right now, so.
okay.
Well, it sounds like we have at least 3 people who are willing to go to the next meeting if they're possibly able to.
Yeah.
So we're way over time. It's 9:54. How do you want to proceed, Chairwoman?
I think we will close this item for now and follow up as I described. I'll contact everybody tomorrow and make sure the tasks are clear at the moment. Council activity, we've done a lot of, even though we've been shorthanded and had canceled some meetings and stuff, there's a lot of people have been doing a lot of things.
Claire and I went and did an outreach at the farmer's market, which was awesome. Now I know the rules, and if we want to do it again, we'll follow the rules. But I think it was awesome. And it was a great way to meet people and get feedback. I thought it was fantastic.
And we also went to this charrette that I've been talking about.
Yeah.
Which is in the early planning stages in terms of reducing erosion in the harbor. We thought they were gonna blow up the jetty, but they're not. What else is, there's a thing that you went to about with the fire department?
Yeah, I did 2 days with the fire department. I have a lot more to say about that. I don't want to overwhelm people.
Yeah.
So there were 7 presentations, and I'll get more together. I gave my talk to HMB Council last Tuesday. I gave our update to them. What else? I think that's about it.
And then there's the Destination Coastside group that you were just talking about, which Kevin did attend, but we don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But we will go next time. And then the Congressman, Sam Liccardo has put together an advisory group that he's calling Coastside Leadership Circle, that's going to be meeting periodically to just keep him up to date on what's going on the coast and what we need. I'm on that. And we met last Saturday and that sounds very promising.
Who else is in that, Claire? For coastside leadership?
Mayor Pacifica, the mayor of Half Moon Bay, some people from Puente, Crystalline, a few just people. That's all I remember at the top of my head.
Okay, that's good. Representative organization, so on the coast side, that's good.
Yeah. And I don't know, anybody else got anything?
Is there a newsletter update?
Oh, yeah, newsletter.
I don't even know where we are on that, like, I have to reach out to Kevin. I don't know.
Kevin will officially be back the 6th of October or something.
So far, okay.
Future agendas, I think we have our hands full.
Yeah.
Both Liccardo and Ray have voiced interest in coming and talking with us about what they're doing and what we're doing. So I think we should probably make sure that they are invited. The County Planning Commission is having a new zoning thing going on about housing on the coast side, and they're going to come tell us what they're doing. I don't know what it is.
What was the update on the filling the planning commission seat?
All I can get is that the application deadline has closed and they are scheduling interviews.
Claire, can you be sure to try to get Captain Chichov regarding the evacuation and the fire explosions? Good, thanks.
Any update on Seton or?
Other than our FOIA request, maybe I don't know if you didn't see that.
I did see that, but I didn't know if you had any update on.
No, as far as I know, nothing has changed. They're still planning to open, hopefully by the end of the year. But I don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
No, and with Dignity working with them or?
I don't know for sure what's happening with that. When we went When I met with Sam Liccardo, I said I thought one of our biggest problems was healthcare on the coast. And he said, join the club, there's no hope. There's gonna be no money. Even the established healthcare organizations are gonna be in big trouble. So that was not nice. But we'll stay on it.
Yeah.
Should we adjourn?
Yes.
All right, let's adjourn.
Let's-
9:59. Thanks.